Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome into Sports Time on a Friday. Bryant and Brett with you. And got a lot to get to over the next 3 hours as we get ready for another week in college football and the NFL. It's going to be a fun weekend. We're in our Family Leisure studios, but Brett down in our mobile studios on the road down in Oxford for the Ole Miss game this weekend. A big one. LSU comes to town and honoring the 2003 team this weekend as well, which I didn't know about until you mentioned that yesterday. What is the environment like down in Oxford today as people get ready to welcome, as a very weird way to put it, welcome LSU into town?
Yeah, we do want to welcome them, and they're rolling into town. Good afternoon, Brian, and it's going to be packed. If you're heading to Oxford tomorrow for the game, you need to leave right now. It is a parking lot in Oxford, unlike I've seen it so far this year. But, you know, the biggest name opponent so far and a lot of their fans. And I don't know who started. I think Ohio State started it around college football one year out at a Fiesta Bowl when they had 40 to 50,000 fans go out there, enjoy the 3, 4, 5 days of festivities with no hopes, no prayer of getting a ticket. They just went out and got in the middle of the party. And then I think LSU was the first to do it in the SEC, and it was around the big Ole Miss LSU game in 2003 that LSU won and won the Western Division because of that game. And they really started that phenomenon, and they're probably the ones that do it the most. Tennessee fans do it some. I mean, there's just not a chance, for a lot of different motivations, that I'm going to go somewhere just for the party. If I get to go to the game, I'm going to stay at home and watch it on TV and have the best party I can at home. But a lot of people like to get in the middle of things, and that 2003 game was quite the classic. Ole Miss went on and won the Cotton Bowl that year, Cotton Bowl champions, and Eli Manning's last game, a 10-3 season. And I think anytime Ole Miss wins double-digit games, that season needs to be celebrated.
Absolutely.
And that's part of the big celebration around that game tomorrow for 20th anniversary. A lot of celebrations around college football tomorrow. One tomorrow at the fairgrounds for 20 years. And that team that we talked a lot about yesterday that holds such a special place, a fondness for Tiger fans, that bowl win. And I think we need to look back and enjoy those good times because nothing's promised. And it's really hard out here in college sports right now to win, and it doesn't ever feel like it's enough. I can't wait till we visit at 5 o'clock with Ty Richardson from ESPN Arkansas, because it has been an unusual week around for Razorback fandom and for Sam Pittman, and I'm afraid that's just going to grow with people. And I think the cost of going to a game that's associated with it, the cost of the ticket, the cost of traveling, the NIL, especially for older fans, I think that bothers them more than it does others. It does not bother me. I'm glad they're getting what they get. But for a lot of people, they're uncomfortable with it. And, Bryant, the wave, almost the universal legalization of sports gambling, I think it's got fans right there on that hair trigger, really anxious and really irritated. And like I said Monday, why is everybody so angry? And I know everybody wants to win, but it's impossible for everybody to win.
Yeah, I mean, it just is. But, I think, like you said, some really good environments here kind of locally with the Tigers and honoring that 2003 team. And same thing with Ole Miss. And I think you're right. I mean, college football has changed so much since those two teams took the field.
Man.
I mean, it has just changed. It's a completely different game. I mean, it really is in terms of on the field and off the field.
And it really mattered then.
Absolutely. 100%. And so, but it's going to be a good weekend for sure, and I'm really excited. I just finalized with my buddies and stuff to go to the game tomorrow for Memphis versus Boise State. So I'm really excited about tomorrow.
Last show we'll do for the month of September. Tomorrow's the last playing date for the month of September. Can you believe that?
I mean, flying by.
and with 5 Saturdays, this is a lot of teams and places that have never played this many games. We're 5 games into it. A lot, they used to be half the year.
Yeah.
At one point in college football, so things really have changed, and fans want to win, and when they don't, they're plenty aggravated. I'm not saying they don't have a right to be aggravated, but I think they're taking it out on a lot of people along the gambling lines. Big news today in the NFL: the league and the Players Association have agreed to new rules around players gambling. Here it is: if you bet on NFL games involving your team, at least a 1-year suspension. If it involves your team, minimum 2 years. Betting on non-NFL games in team facility, 2 games for the first infraction, 6 games for second, at least 1 year for a third. Here's the obvious: attempting to fix a game, banished from the NFL.
Sure. Inside
information and/or tipping, minimum 1 year. Here's one that a lot of players have to be really careful of: third party or proxy betting, minimum 1 year. You got to watch who you're running with.
Oh, yeah.
Because that player could blackmail you.
Oh, absolutely. 100%.
You could say, hey, I was the conduit. I was the camel to bet for someone.
Yeah, no, and it would not surprise me if that happened at all. But, I'm just now seeing these, just came out about 20, 30 minutes ago. But, why couldn't we have figured this out, made these rules, had this policy in the off season? I mean, I understand it's very ever changing. It's such a new thing with how legal it is across the country now, and we're having to change rules and do things kind of on the fly here. But for like Jameson Williams, I mean, not saying that him being out for Detroit won or lost them X amount of games, but if I'm Jameson Williams and I've sat for the first 4 weeks of the season, and now you're saying, we're only going to say a 2-game suspension, I'd be pretty upset about that.
I'm going to give you 2 answers. I'm going to give you the one, kind of the practical, common sense, I hope makes some sense answer. We change our mind as the facts change.
Sure.
And you have to be adaptable.
Right.
And something that you didn't see coming, that you may have had a hard and fast rule on, you got to be you got to be agreeable. You got to be flexible.
Sure.
You want my conspiracy answer?
Brett, I love a good conspiracy, so please.
A really, really, really big name was in some of these more benign violations that would have gotten them in a lot more trouble. And instead of throwing them overboard, let's just change this on the fly.
You know what, Brett, I like that conspiracy theory, because I would not put it past the NFL, one of those kind of marquee star name players. And okay,
now what I just did is really low rent, though, because now everybody gets castigated. Everybody's kind of accusatory. It's what I said about PEDs in baseball.
Right.
We got to the point in baseball where the bullpen catcher was suspect, wasn't he?
Oh, everybody was down to Double-A.
Is that fair?
That guy that hit 350 in Double-A is now. We're wondering.
My conspiracy answer is really low rent to probably the 98.9% not near anything.
Sure, I mean absolutely, but hey, that's what we're here for, right? I mean,
yeah. To be low rent?
I mean, hey,
I guess.
Call it whatever you want to call it, I guess.
It's Friday.
It is Friday, and we're going to have a lot of fun today.
But the NFL changed on the fly, and it makes a good team already better. Throw Jameson Williams in there with Detroit last night. Detroit's who we thought they were. They're legit.
Yeah, and I mean what their defense did to that Green Bay Packers offense. I know still kind of a little banged up. I know they had a couple of guys back that they're really relying on, but probably not 100% fully. But, I mean, that defense was flying around the field all night long, and really, for most of the night, Green Bay couldn't do anything offensively.
Really couldn't. I do think Jordan Love's a tough player and can get the ball where he wants to. I think they're going to be fine there, but last night the Lions were just better.
I mean, from start to finish. I mean, going out and putting up 14 points in the first quarter, I don't care who you're playing in the NFL. When you go out and put up 2 touchdowns in the first quarter, you know you're on to something in that game, and then really didn't take their foot off the gas pedal, and, I mean, putting up 34 points and winning by 14. Extremely convincing fashion, and I think this is the Lions team that a lot of people expected we'd see this season, and kind of a little up and down. They lost that game to Seattle that I know a lot of people are kind of pointing back to because that was Seattle right after they lost that opening game against the Rams, and I think a lot of people were thinking they weren't that good of a team, Seattle. But, you know, I really like this Lions team. I know we're going to get a lot of them in these prime time Sunday night, Monday night, Thursday night games this season, but they're a fun group to watch.
All right, Brian, give me your late night watching last night. Did you stay up until the end for the Mariners' win of the year?
Yeah, no, I stayed. So I got home last night and was watching a lot of this game, and I'd set it up perfectly as you can see, Brett, and anybody else watching on Twitter, Facebook, YouTube. I'm wearing my Kraken sweater. I'd been told all day yesterday by ESPN that their preseason game last night would be on ESPN Plus. So at 9 o'clock, I had set my night schedule so that I could be sitting down in my chair ready to watch the Kraken game at 9 o'clock when puck dropped. And it was nowhere to be found. I couldn't find it anywhere. I went back. It wasn't on the website anymore that he was even going to be on ESPN Plus. So I don't know what happened.
Would you believe I did the same thing?
I don't believe that, but
and you are correct in not believing that. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
I don't believe. No, you're good. But so immediately after that, I watched the rest of this game, and yes, I watched the Mariners game and could not believe that ninth inning. I think I aged 6 years in stress because of what happened.
Win of the year, wasn't it?
Absolutely.
Had to have it.
I mean, had to have it. And the fact that you get bases loaded, bottom of the ninth with no outs, then you go back-to-back outs, and you have J.P. Crawford step up and lace a double to left field.
And you referenced him yesterday.
I did with my big number, yeah. So JP's been huge this year, but so I watched that, and then I was so amped up after that, and also, Brett, that Sam Houston Jacksonville State finish was unbelievable on ESPNU
really
as well. All 3 of those games were fun to watch. I know a couple. One of the Tulsa game was
Tulsa's
not very
better.
close. Tulsa is better, but that was a fun game to watch as well. So I was watching all that. Brett, I was so amped up last night from the Mariners win to that Sam Houston game to this Thursday night football game.
It took you to the Ryder Cup.
Brett,
took you to the first tee shot at the Ryder Cup.
I watched the first hour and a half of the Ryder Cup this morning.
Wow. And you were texting with me early this morning.
I was awake early this morning. I was watching the Ryder Cup at 8 o'clock this morning.
And you're not
I'm not a morning person.
Bright-eyed, bushy-tailed morning person that I am. Well, you saw the only competitive part of the Ryder Cup. Most of us didn't.
Brett.
Most of America was asleep while it was still competitive because it's over.
No, I mean I watched the first. I think I saw the first 2 holes of that first group. Then Ludwig Aberg and his group, which I've heard Ludwig Aberg's name being said 3 different ways since midnight this morning. I don't know which is right. I've always heard Aberg, but I've heard Aberg. I don't know what it is.
I heard Aberg on satellite radio this morning.
So I don't know what the correct pronunciation is. I saw the first 2 holes, I think, of both of those groups. I went to bed. Brett, this morning I woke up. I was like, all right, let's check and see how last night went.
So,
woo! I did not think I was going to see what I saw this morning. No, I mean, shutout.
3 halves makes 1.5 to 6.5, and a lot of those matches were not even close.
No,
it was bludgeonings.
It was.
Tell you one thing I love about that golf course, though.
Yeah.
I love the drivable par 4s, course designers, golf course builders. If the very best in the world, if it brings intrigue to them on a drivable par 4, make more of those for weekend players and get rid of the 240-yard par 3s. There should not be a par 3 that a weekend player plays on past about 175 in yardage. Yeah. Not many of those. It slows down play. They lose, which maybe at the golf course they don't mind them losing balls because then they buy more at the pro shop. And I want the pro shop to make money. But we don't need these long par 3s, and you sure don't need a par 4 over about 450 yards for all weekend players. Make it for weekend players where they can have the go for it quotient in play on a par 4.
Yeah, no, I'm all with you on that, and I mean the environment in Rome this morning. I mean, it was good
great.
atmosphere. It was fun to watch. It got me excited.
Looked hot.
It does. It does. But it was a lot of fun. I mean, even I knew it was going to be electric last night at 12:30 or whenever they ended up teeing off. But even this morning when I woke up, I mean, they were still rolling. The electricity was still there, especially, I mean, after what they did in that first round of matches. But no, very fun to watch. Apart from all the losses for America.
Here's something else. Right now, Jordan Spieth's a really good one, but right now maybe the best putter at the Ryder Cup is Matthew Fitzpatrick.
Yes.
Would you agree?
Absolutely.
Notice every time he putts, no matter inch and a half or 25 foot or 80, what does he always do?
What's that?
Leaves the flagstick in.
Oh, yeah. Oh, absolutely.
Every single time.
Every single time. You're right about that.
More weekend players do it.
Yeah.
You need to do that. First of all, your green reading is not near as good as you think it is.
No, it is not. It is
Second of all, you might hit the wall, hit the pin, and it carry them in.
Mm-hmm. Well, and from at least what I saw, and again, I saw maybe an hour, maybe 2 holes last night, a handful of holes this morning. But from what I saw, it seems like these greens, especially on this golf course, are hard to read. I saw a lot of guys missing putts in that first round. So, you're absolutely right about that. And I heard them talking about Scotty Scheffler. He's been working with a new putting coach that he looks better on the greens.
If he putted like Matthew Fitzpatrick, he would never lose.
He would never lose. I mean, he'd be the greatest golfer we've seen in a long time. And so it was fun watching. But, yeah, a rough hole Team USA is in right now. But let me set up today's show before we get to top and not top story of the day. 3:30, Alan Bell from CBS Digital and the Early Edge producer. He's going to join us. He's going to talk some wagering with us. We'll do a lot of NFL and some college with Alan at 3:45. We'll get into the Tigers and their game tomorrow against Boise State. We'll also look around the American Athletic Conference at some of the other matchups taking place this weekend. 4 o'clock, Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insider, CBS Sports, and BAMSports.net will join us to talk about some more wagering. We'll do a lot with him. BAMSports.com, I should say. But we'll do a lot more wagering with him, a lot more college with Bruce at 4 o'clock.
.net. It's a little confusing.
Is it .net? I'm sorry. Okay, yeah. .net. BAMSports.net for Bruce's picks. I've been on there the past, ever since college football started, I've been over there, and he's got some really, really good stuff over there. A new website for Bruce, so go check that out. We'll talk a lot of wagering with him at 4 o'clock. 4:30, we'll talk the SEC and Ole Miss's big game against LSU this weekend. 4:45, we'll get to big number of the day. 5 o'clock, Ty Richardson from ESPN Arkansas will join us to talk about the Razorbacks and the SEC. 5:30, we'll get to our First National Bank and Trust Friday football forecast. And at 5:45, we'll wrap up today's show like we always do with Taco Bell Crunch Time. Let me remind you, we're sitting in the Family Leisure Studios where family and fun come together. The world's biggest spa sale, it's back and bigger than ever. 50 different models to choose from, 5 different manufacturers, up to 30% off in-stock spas and swim spas, and free upgrades on all in-stock spas. The 24-month same-ass cash is still available, but only at Family Leisure, 2120 Whitten Road, just north of I-40.
He's Brian. I'm Brett. Johnny Hill with us. We are Sports Time, and we're with you until 6 o'clock. We want you to be a part of our show at 901-360-8255. Call us, text us at 901-360-8255. This hour of our show brought to you every day by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway and online at lexusofmemphis.com. Call them at 901-334-9673. Great offers on all 2023 models and always special leasing options. Drive in luxury and confidence knowing that every new Lexus comes with complimentary first and second maintenance services. Stop by Lexus of Memphis at 2600 Ridgeway. Put yourself in the driver's seat of the all-new 2023 flagship LS500, and you'll be looking and you'll be driving in style. The one and only Lexus dealership in town, it's at 2600 Ridgeway. When you purchase a Lexus, you get top-of-the-line engineering and design, and they make for the luxury driving experience. Online at LexusOfMemphis.com. Experience amazing at Lexus of Memphis.
Top story of the day.
Well, my top story of the day, the Tigers return home after the first loss of the season last weekend in St. Louis against the Missouri Tigers. How will they bounce back against Boise State? We know the name Boise State and kind of that weight it carries. But, Brett, you've brought it up. How good is this Boise State team compared to some of the Boise State teams of past?
They can be had.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think this is a great opportunity for the Tigers, but how do they respond after a loss like that? I think a loss that a lot of guys in that locker room thought could have been won. I think a lot of them were a little dejected after that loss against Missouri, but I think you can look up an SEC foe. You battled with them all night. Now that team's in the top 25. I know nobody is in to moral victories, but bounce back this week against Boise State. You're going to be honoring that 2003 team, so it should be a good atmosphere. I hope a lot of fans go out and, one, support this team, but also be there to honor that 2003 team. And then you win here, you go into your off week, and then you really start that conference push with a Friday night game against Tulane. So a lot of time left until that Tulane game, but get a win tomorrow and set up for a really good matchup between Memphis and Tulane in 2 weeks from now.
My top story, I mentioned last Saturday of September, last day of September tomorrow. And for tomorrow's winners, a lot of preseason goals, they still remain. For teams that lose tomorrow, it's a complete reassessment of preseason goals. You have to change when the facts change, like I said about the NFL. Your opinion changes when you're offered different results than preseason goals, and they will have to change. No hiding the record. There's not a shoulda, coulda column. Again, we've talked all week about last week. Memphis Tigers in St. Louis, Ole Miss in Tuscaloosa, Arkansas at Baton Rouge. It could have been. It should have been. It almost was, but it wasn't. It goes to the right-hand column. It goes down as an L. That's the cruel side of sport. We have a winner. We have a loser. It says who you are. Your record says who you are, and it says how good you are. You may be able to do that deep dive and dissect it and finesse it however you want. People look at the record, and it tells them how good you are.
Not top story of the day.
Well, you're absolutely right about that, and that leads me to my not top story of the day, because we have some great matchups this weekend, and it really starts tonight. A good slate of games in college football tonight. I think about maybe 3 or 4 games tonight in college football, but the big one, 10th ranked Utah at 19th ranked Oregon State, 8 p.m. on FS1. And then that leads us into tomorrow, where, we start the day with some great ones. USC at Colorado, Florida at Kentucky, Georgia at Auburn, and that kind of leads us into the afternoon when you've got LSU and Ole Miss at 5 o'clock, Kansas, Texas at 2:30. And then, thankfully, not a ton of late-night games tomorrow night, because we're going to have an early morning Sunday, Falcons, Jaguars, 8:30 a.m. on ESPN Plus from Wembley in London, and that'll lead us into our NFL day with some really good matchups over there as well. So it's going to be a fantastic weekend. I'm excited all around. Maybe we could see a comeback from the boys wearing the red, white, and blue for Team USA. I don't know about that, but it should be an absolutely unbelievable weekend in sports.
Would you believe I've got a Wembley note for my Rebels in the NFL segment for Ole Miss Saturday night?
You're kidding.
I do. At Wembley Stadium, it has 2,618 toilets, more than any venue in the world.
Oh, really?
I should have saved that for my big number today.
Oh, man, you should have. That would have been unbelievable.
It will be. My not top story, I've had very little to say about it this week. Again, I don't want to get preachy-fied. I'm not trying to. I hope tomorrow's crowd size is really good for the Tigers.
Yeah.
With this optimistic start that the team's had, tomorrow's going to be good weather, quality opponent, a really big name. This should be a crowd that I think should be, and I'm going to be fair here, I think should be mid-30s to 37, 38. I'm not saying 60,000. I'm not saying that. I know viewing habits have changed, but I think it should be pretty good tomorrow. And then with a win, build to Friday night, October 13th against Tulane, and hopefully that'd be in the high 40s.
Yeah.
Or maybe on that Friday night, that first number be a 5. I just hope it can be accomplished.
Yeah, I hope so as well. It should be a really good weekend, though. But that'll do it for top.
You know, Brian, I'm sorry for interrupting.
No, you're good.
And anytime we or whoever starts on attendance, I think whether it's basketball, football, any school, Ole Miss, Arkansas, Tigers, anybody, should be mindful and thankful to the ones that do go.
Oh, absolutely.
To those diehards that are always at everything. I think you probably get forgotten in all the protestations about bigger crowds and more and need to do this. To the ones that do go, thank you a whole lot.
Oh, yeah,
I mean,
absolutely.
I know you're appreciated by the powers that be, and you should be, because you know we're not the ones that are. You're not the ones that are being preached at. You're there.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right about that, and so we just need more people, and hopefully a win against Boise State tomorrow will drive a bigger crowd in 2 weeks when they host Tulane. But like I said, that'll do it for top and not top story of the day. Let's go ahead and get to our first break of the day. When we come back, we'll talk some wagering with Alan Bell. But first, here's a traffic update.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon, EMS on the scene of a couple of calls out here. Traffic's on the increase. Sam Cooper going outbound. It actually looks pretty good right now. Sam Cooper at Perkins. Now it's a little bit crowded at times on 240 East, making your way past Billmore Parkway up towards Poplar, and some radar earlier on I-40 in parts of Arkansas this afternoon out towards Forest City. Hey, Weimer's Jewelry's back open better than ever. Go by and see them this weekend at Weimer's Jewelry, 7525 Highway 64. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Start your day with Sports 56 Mornings with Greg Gaston and Eli Savoy. Weekday mornings from 7 to 10, right here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
At Jason's Deli, when you're dining in or picking up curbside, you can expect wholesome food and no surprises, just delicious sandwiches, crisp salads, and quick quality meals made with the freshest ingredients and no artificial trans fats, MSG, high fructose corn syrup, or artificial colors and dyes. Around here, a lot of thought goes into what we put into our food and what we take out of it, because you're not just taking a bite, you're getting a taste of who we are. New items are constantly being created to expand our menu for all tastes and special diets with vegan and gluten-free options available. Convenience and on-time delivery you can count on. It's just a click away at jasonsdeli.com, so whether you need to feed 5 people or 5,000, the team at Jason's Deli, they have the credentials and the commitment to keep you satisfied. Freshness is nearby at Jason's Deli, with locations at Ridgeway in the Park Place Center, Poplar and Highland, Germantown Road in Cordova, and on Goodman Road in Olive Branch. Jason's Deli. It's wholesome food and no surprises.
Golfers, swing into Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the hottest new fall arrivals from TaylorMade, Callaway, and Titleist. Come by and test drive the new TaylorMade P790 irons, the new Callaway Apex Pro iron sets, and the new Titleist T-Series irons. While you're there, get a free custom fitting on the new arrivals and more. Edwin Watts Golf Shops is your headquarters for all the latest golf gear from all the top manufacturers. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee. Shop us in store or online at edwinwattsgolf.com.
Pizza lovers and sports fanatics, Ferraro's Pizzeria is your Sunday ticket headquarters. Catch every pro game on multiple big screen TVs while enjoying $2 beers, $9 beer buckets, and mouth-watering pizza. We're talking the cheesiest, most delicious New York pizzas in town with all your favorite toppings. What are you waiting for? Grab your family and friends and get to Ferraro's, corner of Jackson and Main, just east of the Pyramid. Enjoy every pro game at Ferraro's Pizzeria and Cheesy Corner, your game day destination.
Ready for a new ride? We got it covered at Gossett Kia on the Pike. 41 MPG Highway, we got it with 2023 Kia Forte LXS. $229 a month, $29.99 to its signing. Get some EV action in 2023 Nero EV Wind SUV. 253 miles of EPA estimated range, $269 a month, $49.99 to its signing. Plus, check out 2023 Kia EV6 Wind. Get up to 134 city, 101 highway MPGe, $399 a month, $49.99 to its signing. And Gossett will include a free charger with your EV purchase, all 36-month leases, plus Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Ask for Bobby J. He's ready to put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or online, KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 36 months, 650 acquisition fee, Forte LSX, PE 678605, MSRP 21610, Nero P507859, MSRP 41190, EV6, P5610964, MSRP 49687, includes all rebates and incentives, must finance through Hyundai, excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details, offer valid through 10/2/2023 with approved credit, dealer stock only.
Chris Price here with Metro Builders. Is your roof leaking? Do you have mold stains on the ceiling of your home or business? Is your carrier denying your claim or offering a repair because they just don't have enough documentation? You need a contractor that performs work for insurance carriers each and every day, and Metro Builders is here to assist. This is why you call Metro Builders. At Metro Builders, we provide free estimates and consultation and love to assist homeowners with their claims. Metro Builders' process of arriving, inspecting, and diagnosing problems is second to none. Our team of Hague-certified technicians are standing by to assist you with providing estimates and photos to your carrier to document your loss. And the best part of all you owe is what your policy states. No large fees on top of the final scope. We use high-grade materials and are certified by companies like Atlas, Certainteed, Owens Corning, and even Mulehide. We offer best-in-class warranties on all of our jobs, up to 50 years. When it comes to roofs and restoration, call Metro Builders to schedule your free inspection. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717.
Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. Choate's is offering some amazing specials for this month only. If you're considering upgrading your furnace before the cold weather comes, Choate's is offering $1,000 off a new Carrier furnace. If you don't need a new furnace, Choate's is now offering its early bird $60 furnace tune-up. This 22-point tune-up includes a free carbon monoxide test and heat exchanger inspection. And Choate's is your indoor air quality expert. For the best quality air for you and your family, it's recommended to have your air ducts cleaned every 8 years. This month only, Choate's will install a free UV light system when you get your air ducts cleaned, a $500 value. Call us at 347-8086 to take advantage of these amazing deals. So, turn to the experts with Choate's, and remember, let our family serve your family.
Let's make some money. It's time for Wagering Talk with Alan Bell from CBS Sports. Alan is the executive producer of Early Edge, part of CBS Sports Digital, and on Twitter X at Alan G. Bell. Here's Alan with Bryant, Brett, and Jay Morgan.
Well, let's make some money with Alan Bell, the executive producer for the Early Edge and also from CBS Digital. Alan, thanks so much for joining us. I know we want to get to a lot of these games, but me and Brett talked a little bit to open the show about the updated, newer gambling policy for the NFL and these players in the NFL. I don't know if you've been able to see it yet, but the if you bet on a sport that isn't the NFL, a 2-game suspension. If you bet on the NFL or your team, it's a year. What do you think about these kind of updated policies?
Yeah, I mean, first off, I appreciate you guys having me back. It gets tough when it's betting on another sport, right? Because how do you say, hey, you can't do that when you're taking sponsorship money? But that being said, I mean, it is what it is, right? Like, yeah. I mean, it's their company; they can create the rules as they want, right? So, yeah, man, like it's tough. I get it, but you got to do something because with the NFL, with any of these major sports, credibility is the paramount of what they're looking to keep. Because once you lose it, it's gone forever, and you can never, ever get that back. So I totally understand these leagues that are no nonsense and no tolerance on it. It's just the way you have to be.
Right. Alan, you're right. It's they can make the rules just like we see around the country, the far and wide, the vast legalization of marijuana. But they can say, we don't want you testing positive for marijuana or you're not going to play.
Yep. Yep, 100%. You're exactly right. And it differs state by state, and also, with leagues like I give the NBA credit. The NBA is generally the league that's ahead, in terms of the others. They kind of basically said, look, we're not saying that is legal, not legal. We're just not going to test for it, right? Which is like that's how you go about doing it. You know what I mean? Like that's how you avoid that. But sports betting, you can't. You just have to have strict rules. And you know what? We pay you nicely. Sorry, that's just one of the things.
Let's start picking some of these games, and it could be the last one of the South's oldest rivalry, Georgia and Auburn, tomorrow on the Plains. It's the closest in proximity rivalry in the SEC, Athens to Auburn. Changes time zones, but still very, very, very close. And we're going to lose this game. It's not scheduled for next year. We don't know when it'll be played again. It will, but it'll break the long-running streak. Georgia, a 14.5-point favorite on the Plains. I don't know if anybody's got a great handle on Georgia. Do you have one, Alan?
No, I don't. And, that's what makes this so difficult is that we just don't know what we're going to get out of Georgia. I've got a pretty good feeling what we're going to get out of Auburn, and that's not really much, right? Like, they're just not a good football team. And I don't say that negatively against Hugh Freeze. I mean, he just got there, right? And there's a reason why, they were looking for a brand new head coach. So it's going to take him time, to recruit and all that. That being said, even though this game, and you guys know it better than anybody, this game's always close, no matter who the better. We've seen Auburn, be the dominant team, and Georgia keeps it tight, and vice versa, right? That being said, though, it's Georgia or nothing for me. I don't like that hook, 14.5, but there's just no way I can bet Auburn. Like they're just not talented enough right now, and I couldn't put money on it. So for me, it's Georgia enough.
Yeah, I agree on that. I'm curious your thoughts on tonight, the top 25 battle between 10th-ranked Utah, 19th-ranked Oregon State. Right now, Oregon State about a 4-point favorite. I haven't seen anything on if Cam Rising is going to suit up tonight for Utah, but this is clearly the best game of the night on a Friday. What do you think about this one?
Yeah, in regards to Cam Rising, I feel like we do this every single week, right?
Oh, yeah.
And, and if I'm Utah, I'm not starting him on the road on a Friday night.
That's a good point.
I would have already made that decision Tuesday. You know what I mean? So I wouldn't count on that at all. Now, as for the game, man, this one's tough because we saw what Utah did to UCLA last week. And they just said, you're not going to score. You're just not going to score. That's how we're going to beat you. And that's how Utah goes about it. They're a physical team. It's essentially you're stepping outside, getting in the fight. That's what you're doing. Like, that's what Utah is. But Oregon State can make things weird, especially in Corvallis. But I'll tell you what, I'll take Utah with the points. If you're giving me them as an underdog, they can absolutely muddy up a game. Mm-hmm. The concern would be if Oregon State starts to score quickly, kind of what the Lions did to the Packers last night, to where you just can't keep up. You know what I mean? But if the thing's tight, Utah all day, man.
Some pretty good games tonight. Any of those you love?
Which one? Cross college football?
Tonight's college football.
Yeah.
Cincinnati at BYU, Louisiana Tech at UTEP, Louisville at NC State.
I'll say this. All right. The fact that, I know that it's on the road for Cincinnati, but Cincinnati's a good football team. And the fact that they're, only a 1-point favorite on the road at BYU, I really do like Cincinnati in that one. You look at, what do we got? Louisiana Tech and UTEP. Not too much.
We'll knock a point off. We'll even call it even, as I see it right now. BYU and Cincinnati pick them. You don't have to lay that point, Alan.
I'll take Cincinnati. I'll take that all day long, man. They're a good football team, dude. Louisville NC State is a fascinating game tonight. I don't like Louisville getting 3.5 on the road because Louisville's the much better team. You just get kind of weird turnovers with them. They just kind of cut their own legs out under them. But that being said, NC State is not a good football team. You know what? I'll take Louisville with the 3.5. I think that they're a team that can just score more consistently than NC State can. But the big one, Cincy, man. Give me that Bearcat.
I like it. Tomorrow, I know a lot of people have been talking about Colorado this season, but after that loss last week, a lot of people questioning them now. Now they're going to host USC tomorrow. And my biggest question, right now that line, USC minus 21.5, but when you look at this USC defense, I don't know how much I trust them. What do you think in this one with a big line for USC?
Yeah, you know what? I think the best play is to play the under 73.5, right?
Yeah.
Like, we did it last week with Colorado and Oregon, and it played out exactly how we thought that it would be. Oregon scores a ton of points in the first half, and then the second half, you just pretty much your opponent for Oregon, instead of it being Colorado, it's the clock. And you just kind of run that thing out. And I think that USC is going to kind of do the same thing. So if you're looking to play, let me also say this. If you're looking to play USC, all right, 21.5, not only a large number, but you're also eating that hook. And understand this. Caleb Williams, the quarterback for USC, they have pulled him in 75% of their games this year because they're up. So so you could potentially be holding a 21.5-point favorite ticket, and you don't have Caleb Williams the entire fourth quarter, right? So be careful with that one. I think that the smarter play would be taking the under, because let me also say what Oregon did last week, you know why they kind of called the dogs off? Because if you blow out Colorado, but, you know, I'm going to go Miami Dolphins, I'm going to score 100 points.
Sure.
You then become the national story. I mean, Colorado's on 60 minutes. They're all over the place. So Oregon was like, look, let's win, but let's just get out of here. Let's not make ourselves a story and have the media here this week. Hey, you're the ones that blew out. Like, as dumb as that sounds, coaches do not want to be the story. So I can see the exact same thing to where USC just kind of gets up big, coasts, gets out with a win. Also, these games played at 9 a.m. Pacific time. LA boys, it's a little early for those guys.
Yeah.
What is your favorite college game tomorrow?
Oh, man. You know, I can't wait for Notre Dame Duke. I can't wait to watch that one. How does Notre Dame bounce back? How does Duke handle, again, being the focal point? Duke is such a good, well-coached football team, right? So I'm fascinated with that one. Look, I'm taking Notre Dame. I'm going to do it. I think that, you know, with a veteran quarterback in Sam Hartman, I think that locker room can bounce back. I do think that that's a good spot for them to be in. South Carolina plus 12 against Tennessee. Spencer Rattler is arguably the most accurate quarterback in college football. Tennessee can't stop anyone on third down. They give up first downs over and over and over. I'm not saying Tennessee loses the game, but 12 points is a lot, especially when that Tennessee offense is really not clicking all that well, right?
Yeah.
So, yeah, I think South Carolina plus 12, man, that might be fun.
I like that. Talking to Alan Bell from CBS Digital. Let's get over to the NFL. And what a better way to start a Sunday than making money at 8:30 in the morning. We've got a game in London, Falcons versus Jaguars right now. Jaguars a 3-point favorite. That over-under sitting at 43. What do you like in that one?
Yeah, I'm going to take the Jaguars -3. Now, the over-under is intriguing. You look at the Atlanta Falcons. They really can't do a whole lot except run the football, right? I mean, that's kind of what their offense is. Jacksonville hasn't been playing well at all this season. That being said, they go to London twice a year, every year. I mean, this is a home game for them, right?
They're there for 2 weeks this stretch.
Absolutely, right? Like, I mean, that's a massive. It's tough enough to go, you know, from Nashville to New Orleans in the NFL, right? Now you're talking about going across, you know, the Titanic into another country. It's just a lot of travel, dude. I'll take Jacksonville with the 3 there. I think that, you know, you could play, you could probably, this game more than likely end up with a push, you know, so I don't go 3.5, but if you could get down to 2.5, that's where you're really making money on that one.
AFC East supremacy someone will have a stake to it Sunday afternoon at the home of the Bills, Buffalo. They're 2.5-point favorites over the Dolphins. We know what the Dolphins have done so far. I trust them. I think they're that good. The team speed, the roster composition, all that. But I go back to the Bills' one loss. Probably the best player on the field that night for the Jets was the quarterback for the Buffalo Bills. He'll be better tomorrow at home against the Dolphins than opening night against the Jets.
Yeah, I agree. And I'm with you. I'm going to take the Bills 2.5 here. And, you know, I think if you're looking to bet that one, betting Bills money line not a bad play. Like, if you want to bet the Bills, this is a game where you could eat the juice and be all right with it. Look, I think that the Bills locker room and the team understands that, you know what, this is a must-win game. You have to beat Miami when you're playing at home. If you have any aspirations of winning a division, going to a Super Bowl, it starts right here. You have to win this game. Not to mention, this is the question that none of us really have an answer to. How does a team follow up 70 points in the NFL? Like, I have no idea. I have no idea what to expect out of Miami's offense, but, Brett, you said it best, man. Like, this team is for real. Like, that offense is for real. Tua's for real. You better not sleep on them at all. But, yeah, Buffalo, it's a must-win. It is a back against the wall. You have to win this game, and I like those in the NFL. I'll take them.
Alan, last thing for you. What is your favorite bet for the NFL this weekend?
Man, that is a great question, and I'll tell you what I think that it is. The Houston Texans plus 2.5 against the Pittsburgh Steelers. Yeah, it's a weird game that really nobody's going to be betting or looking at. But that being said, all right, you're getting a home team here, 2.5 points. And look, all they know is offense. That's all that they know because they're down 10 points seemingly in every game so far this year. That being said, Pittsburgh doesn't score that many points, and they want to try to. This is a game where they really just want to get in, get a win, and get the heck out of there, right? I think Houston can win this game outright. It's just one of those sleepy type of games, on the road for the Steelers here. Yeah, give me the Texans plus 2.5, man. They might surprise people or Sunday.
Alan, we won't visit with you again until next Friday, but for all the baseball next week, any trends, anything to watch, and tell our listeners how to follow you and keep up with all the baseball because you've been on fire all year with that. Really and truly just riding the Braves, which is smart. Once that horse keeps winning for you, keep riding him.
I was going to say, look, I'm not the smartest guy in the world, but a team that scores runs, I bet on teams that score runs. That's all you get. I mean, just stick with that plan, right? You can find me on Twitter at Alan G. Bell. But, Atlanta Braves, ride them if you like team totals, if you like playing little same-game parlays. I mean, this team can do it all. And they have that little, drought where they clinched and, didn't really have much to play for. And then they pick it back up, and the team's going to come in hot. So, Braves team total usually set around 4.5. The team scores runs. They score 6 runs when they lose. So, I mean, Ryan Kelly tell you not to, and legitimately all year long, they ain't come close to coming back.
I like it. I think that's a smart thing to do down the stretch for sure. But, Alan, thanks so much for joining us, and good luck this week, and we'll talk to you next Friday.
Hey, appreciate you guys, man. Thanks so much for having me.
Thanks, Alan.
Thank you.
Alan Bell from CBS Sports Digital, also the executive producer of The Early Edge, joining us every single Friday to talk some wagering. But let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk about the American Athletic Conference and the Tigers in their game against Boise State tomorrow. That's next on Sports Time.
Be sure to follow us at Sports56 WHBQ on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube to watch live video of our shows, stay up to date with station events, and have chances to win prizes. Don't miss out on anything that's going on. Follow us at Sports56 WHBQ.
Bell Tavern is waiting for you this Saturday. Well, Bell Tavern is waiting for you all the time, but this Saturday and the next bunch of Saturdays are different because these Saturdays we have college football. We say it all the time. Bell Tavern, Memphis's downtown neighborhood bar, is not a sports bar. It's a great bar that happens to have sports on the TVs. Lots of high-def TVs. You don't want to go watch your favorite college team in some chain restaurant. You want to go to Bell Tavern where you can enjoy the game, make some friends, and have some of the best cocktails in Memphis. That's what you want.
I'm Kelly Erb with Mark Spensdorf Realtors, and I just had to ask, Sheldon, did you really just buy a set of golf clubs and you never tried them out?
Yep, that's right.
And Sheldon, didn't you tell me whenever you buy a car, you never test drive it?
Again? Yep.
Don't you think that's pretty bizarre since you always tell people to talk to 2 or 3 agents when they sell their home?
Yes, it is. I'm Sheldon Rosengarten, and I'm also with Mark Spensdorf Realtors with Kelly. It's funny, we tell people that you should always talk to more than one agent to find out not only what they think about your home, but more importantly, what they will do for you. And you really need to make sure and include us in the interview process.
I agree, because how are you going to find out about our strategic marketing program with the Shellbucks option? And as people often say, when you want the job done, call Sheldon.
That's Sheldon Rosengarten and Kelly Erb. Call or email us at memphisrelocate.com or 682-1868. Do it now, 682-1868 or memphisrelocate.com.
I know the sweetest thing in Memphis, and I know it's been around for 120 years. You know, I'm talking about Dinstall's, and it's time to stock up heavy on Cashew Crunch, Heavenly Crunch, Turtlettes, all of your favorite Dinstall's treats to watch the playoff games and to watch all the basketball. It's so easy to get. The sweetest thing in Memphis, all you have to do is head to Laurelwood or head to Germantown and Poplar right across from the hospital, or go where they make the candies. That's on Pleasant View. There's nothing that says Memphis better than Cashew Crunch with that little tinge of coconut, or the Turtlettes. Let's face it, there's nothing better than Dinstall's chocolate. That's the mainstay of all candies, isn't it? Milk chocolate, although their dark chocolate is pretty darn good. And if you get the peppermint with the dark chocolate and put it in the freezer, you're going to love it. So many ways to love Dinstall's. 115 years of making Memphis oh so sweet.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. Roofing and siding, gutters too. We're the pros you can trust to get it done right. Call on us. 5-Ash Roofing, the name to know. 5-Ash Roofing, the only way to go. 5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. 5-Ash Roofing.
Is that not the corniest thing you've ever heard? Can you believe I paid good money for that silly jingle? Well, the experts say make it memorable, and I think I got my money's worth. 5-Ash Roof Services, proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. 5-Ash Roofing, 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
5-Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
Case IH is a proud supporter of the Mississippi Farm Bureau, and thanks to a membership benefits partnership, Mississippi Farm Bureau members receive a discount of up to $500 on every qualifying Case IH tractor and piece of equipment you purchase. This discount may be used with other promotions, rebates, or offers. So join Mid-South Ag Equipment and the Mississippi Farm Bureau and pocket up to $500 in savings. Call Mid-South Ag at 662-890-3141 to get your discount today.
Want to play a private country club but only pay daily greens fees? Meadowbrook Country Club in West Memphis is your place. You can now play a beautiful, challenging course for only $59 plus tax, including cards. Meadowbrook Country Club features champion Bermuda greens and now is available to everyone. A membership is only $350 per month and includes tennis, pickleball, and swimming, plus a great restaurant and bar. Golf Pro Mark can even fix you up with custom-made tricks on clubs. Call 870-394-4186 today for your Tuesday through Sunday tee time at Meadowbrook Country Club in West Memphis.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Lexus of Memphis. Here are your hosts, Brett Stats Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you as we get ready to wrap up our first hour. And tomorrow in the American, obviously here locally, the big game will be Boise State versus Memphis. Right now, that line's sitting at about 3 for the Tigers. But a lot of other really good games as a lot of teams in the American kick off conference play or are on byes this week. Kind of a light slate in the American this weekend. But that Memphis game against Boise State tomorrow, I think, is a massive game for the conference.
I do too, and look, the great opportunity last week, it's over with. Didn't get it, but a lot of good out of it. Now for the Tigers over the course of the next 3 weeks, really whether this season's going to be a special, great season or just pretty good or maybe disappointing will be decided. It's not unlike that across college football. Tomorrow in the AAC, tell me the real UAB. They may be telling us, and it's not very good. And I had a lot more hope for Trent Dilfer in his first year. South Florida was the real South Florida, the competitive nature of the Alabama game. Tomorrow we know what they're going to see against Navy. Charlotte and SMU. SMU's a big favorite tomorrow night. SMU has shown flashes of it. Charlotte's been competitive, but I don't really know about those teams. And almost the same for East Carolina at Rice.
Yep.
Tomorrow will give a lot more definition for a lot of iffy, suspect teams.
Yeah, no, I think you're absolutely right. I mean, these are some good tests for a lot of these, and kind of a good, let's see how you really are for a lot of these teams, because for UAB, this is a tough test after having to go and play at Georgia last week to respond back with a game at Tulane. I mean, that's a tough 2 weeks for a team like UAB. You mentioned South Florida seeing that offense that Navy will run. And for East Carolina, Rice has been very competitive this year, and so that's going to be a tough game for them as well. Charlotte has been really up and down this year, but that defense has shown all season that they can be strong. And so I really do love this slate for the American tomorrow. Even though it's kind of limited, I think it's going to be a lot of fun to watch.
When we close out September, you still have a lot of runway to define yourself. But in a month, when we're closing out October, and I've said it for a long time, and I'll say it a lot at the end of October, this is who you are.
Yeah.
I mean, it's not going to radically change.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. And so and also for a lot of these teams that are opening conference play, it's important to get, start 1-0 in conference play and not kind of start towards the bottom of the standings in conference play. So I think you'll see a lot of really competitive games here in the American, and also
Michael Pratt back for Tulane.
Yeah, so that's going to be fun to see, kind of get a glimpse of him before we see him.
Ole Miss may have caught a real break not having to see him.
Really might have. But, hey, I mean, we've talked about that backup quarterback they have. I can't remember his name for Tulane.
Kai Walker.
He very impressive, I thought, in that game against Ole Miss. So it should be a fun day in the American, but I do think, even though it's a non-conference game, this Boise State-Memphis game really leads the charge in terms of games to watch.
It's the glamour game.
You're
Boise,
right.
they have that cachet. They earned it.
Yeah.
I don't think they've done a lot lately to kind of keep stoking it, but they had a lot of goodwill.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. But we've been talking about a lot of games. It's going to be a great weekend of sports, and I know you're looking for a place to watch the game, and I've got the spot for you. It's Bell Tavern, located at 117 Barbaro Alley, right behind 117 Prime. Open from 4 to 11 Wednesday through Saturday and 4 to 8 on Sundays. I know nobody likes a loud bar where you can't hear yourself think, much less talk, but that's the opposite of Bell Tavern. Start your night with a gourmet burger and one of their great cocktails in a quiet, dimly lit bar that you can enjoy a game at with your friends. And it's not just the burgers. Bell Tavern has the best bar food in Memphis and the coldest beer in the city. 117 Prime. Just walk through their dining room and you're at the best bar in town. For more information about our friends at Bell Tavern, call 901-249-6580 or go online to belltavern.com. That'll do it for our first hour. Let's get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk some more wagering with Bruce Marshall. But first, here's another traffic update.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. We've already had some slow traffic at times over here on 240 East, coming past 385 Billboards Parkway, working your way up to Poplar. Outbound on Sam Cooper. We've watched that build also up by Perkins. It looks good over here on I-40 at Hollywood as you come past Warford, and it's already starting to slow down at times 55 south across that bridge coming over from West Memphis. You don't want to miss it this weekend at Smoky Mountain Fall Festival at Ober-Gatlinburg. You can check all the details out online at obergatlinburg.com. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
All 36 months, 650 acquisition fee, Forte LSX, PE 678605, MSRP 21610, Nero, P507859, MSRP 41090, EV6, P5610964, MSRP 49687, includes all rebates and incentives, must finance through Hyundai, excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 10/2/2023 with approved credit. Dealer.com. Hey, Jeff Allen, I hear Gossett Kia South on Mount Moriah is about to blow my socks off.
That's right, Brandy. Get 41 MPG Highway with the 2023 Kia Forte LXS, $229 a month, $29.99 do-it signing.
What about those cool new EVs?
I've got EV action with a 2023 Nero EV Win SUV, 253 miles of EPA estimated range, $269 a month, $49.99 do-it signing. And a 2023 Kia EV6 Win, 134 city, 101 highway MPGE, $399 a month, $49.99 do-it signing. Plus, you'll get a free charger with every EV purchase. All 36-month lease.
And Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
We interrupt this broadcast for special news and information concerning family leisure.
The world's biggest spa sale is back and bigger than ever at Family Leisure. How is that possible? Well, let me tell you. You start off with 50 different spa models to choose from 5 different manufacturers. Then you throw in up to 30% off in-stock spas and swim spas. But is that all? Oh, no. You get free upgrades on all in-stock spas, plus 24 months, same as cash. Wow! This is the kind of sale that you just can't have every day. But it's happening right now at Family Leisure, the world's biggest spa sale. Soak in the savings right now at Family Leisure, Witten Road and I-40. You know the place where family and fun come together.
Please remain calm and walk. Don't run to Family Leisure. And now back to your regular programming.
The Crazy Coop, America's premier wing destination, has 27 delicious flavors to choose from and counting. Like the Buffalo Ranch, a perfect combo of ranch seasoning with a little kick. Mango Habanero, sweet taste of mango followed by the heat. Or sweet maple bourbon. The taste will remind you of chicken and waffles. And that's just 3 of the amazing 27 chicken wing seasonings that you can get at the Crazy Coop in Bartlett at 7199 Stage Road. And now open the Crazy Coop Express at 1315 Ridgeway off Poplar. Some like it hot. How about the Crazy Sweet Lemon Pepper Hot or Crazy Suicide? Can't take the heat? Get the 4-cheese roasted garlic or barbecue bacon bourbon. Ask about the $9.99 lunch special. Now those are some crazy good prices. The Crazy Coop, 2 locations, 7199 Highway 64 between Applin and Kirby Witten and 1315 Ridgeway off Poplar. Family owned and operated, The Crazy Coop, America's premier wing destination.
Cooling or heating system on the fritz? Dripping faucet? Call the pros at Conway Services today and we'll waive the service call fee with any HVAC or plumbing repair. Expert technicians available 7 days a week. Call 384-3511 to schedule your appointment. Visit conwayservices.com for details, terms, and conditions. License number 64210, 64365 EAS, MS 19668.
Call 384-3511. Conway Services. Call Conway today.
It's time to go where the season takes you, and it's the season for savings at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Go for miles more with 43 MPG Highway in your 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage. $17,815 or $229 a month. 2024 Eclipse Cross eludes sleek and sporty style at $29,695 or $399 a month. Discover the new 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander SUV with 3rd row and 7-passenger seating. Now $29,885 or $449 a month. And they're all equipped with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. We're ready to put you in a new ride today at Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or 24/7 at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 84 months. Mirage RH 00782, MSRP 18315. Eclipse RZ 001693, MSRP 30,445. Outlander RZ 005762, MSRP 31,385. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax on a licensee dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit dealer stock only.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis. Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Oh, yeah.
Joining the guys every Friday is college football historian and Vegas legend Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insiders, CBS Sports, and his own website, bamsports.net. With over 30 years on Memphis radio, with handicapping and sports talk, here's Bruce Marshall with Bryant, Brett, and Jay Morgan.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Brian and Brett with you. And joining us now from Vegas Insider, CBS Sports, and BAMSports.net, Bruce Marshall joins us now to talk about these games. Bruce, thanks so much for joining us. And we talked a lot last week about the great weekend of college football that we had, but I think this one's another pretty good weekend of games, and we start tonight with the top 25 matchup between Utah and Oregon State. What do you like in this one? I haven't seen anything about Cam Rising tonight, if he's going to play, if he's not going to play, but right now Oregon State a 4-point favorite. What do you like in the top 25 matchup tonight?
Yeah, it looks like we haven't heard yet that he's been cleared to play. And what's been going on the last couple of weeks with Utah is he's been practicing and splitting first-team reps with Nate Johnson during the week, and they're just waiting for him to get cleared to play. And it looks like he's probably, unless something happens the next couple hours, he's not going to play tonight again. That's what it looks like. And I think at some point, Utah's got to have to get him back because they're winning games sort of by, via smoke and mirrors without much offense. This offense ranks 112th nationally, and that's, without rising this far. But the problem they're going to have is whenever he comes back in, he's going to be kind of rusty.
Yeah.
So, I think Kyle Whittingham is going to push this as far as he can with Johnson. He's also got to wait for the medical guys to say if the knee is okay. The other thing about Utah, and I deviated from this last week, which maybe I shouldn't have, but the default recommendation for them is when they're at home, you go with them. When they're on the road, you don't have to go with them. You don't necessarily have to go against them, but you don't have to be scared of them. And they're on the road here tonight. Oregon State, conversely, has a very good home record. They're off of a bitter loss last week to Washington State. Physically, they sort of mirror Utah. A lot of things they do, they can run. They got two physical backs in Martinez and Fenwick, gaining better than 7 yards per carry between them. And one of the better defenses in the Pac-12. They did get beat pretty good in Salt Lake City last year, but I think this all sets up for Oregon State. And as long as DJU doesn't implode, and he's been okay thus far, he just hasn't been great, but good enough. I think Utah on the road loses that, especially with Rising probably not playing. So I'm going to take the Beavers tonight, 27-17 in Corvallis.
Oregon State, according to Bruce Marshall. Bruce, tomorrow in Memphis, a real good one between the Tigers and Boise, and tomorrow in Oxford, a really good one between the Tigers of LSU and Ole Miss. Go the local angle. Memphis and Boise tomorrow afternoon at the fairgrounds. Ole Miss and LSU tomorrow night in Oxford.
Yeah, and we'll see. I mean, that was one Memphis really could have used last week in St. Louis. I mean, they're thinking still they could be a group of 5 rep and into the New Year's Bowls, New Year's Six. I guess that could still happen. It's a little bit tougher. It won't happen if they lose this game, but I'm not sure they're going to win. Boise looks like it's coming around a little bit. That loss to Washington, and then last second loss to UCF back in early second week of the season. But they've come around since then. They have a very good, top-notch running back in Ashton Genty. He's smaller, but man, is he tough to bring down. And the quarterback, Taylon Green, very, very mobile. They won that game at San Diego State last week. I just wonder if Memphis has a little hangover from that near miss against Mizzou. So I'm going to lean a little bit to Boise there, 30-27 in that one. The other Tigers, we will see. Last year, it was 45-20 in Baton Rouge, and it's going to be closer this time. It's earlier than it was last year. But I think, we just saw again last week when Lane can't get that running game really going, I really think Jackson Dart needs that. I mean, that's not unique to him. A lot of quarterbacks do, but he's less likely to go out there and win a game on his own than Jaden Daniels the other way, I think. And last year, LSU did a really good job slowing down the Rebel running game down in Baton Rouge. Off a close one against Arkansas. By the way, 4th straight game between LSU and Arkansas, decided by 3 last week. But I think Brian Kelly's going to bring LSU in here and win. One other note, LSU's been over 11-1 its last 12, and they have pushed this total up pretty high at Vaught Hemingway tomorrow. I'm not sure if it gets into the high 60s, maybe low 60s. 36-27 LSU, my score forecast there. At Vaught Hemingway.
I like it. What about the college game day is going to be at Duke tomorrow for the big matchup tomorrow night on ABC, Notre Dame at Duke. Right now, Notre Dame a 5.5-point favorite after that last-second loss last week against Ohio State. That total sitting at about 52.5 tomorrow night. What do you like in this one, Bruce?
Yeah, it was a good one. And, the scheduling here, tough for Notre Dame after really. Ohio State. That's the biggest gut punch you can have, losing the way they did.
No, I feel so sorry for him, Bruce.
Yeah, and shed no tears for Notre Dame. And Duke, though, I mean, listen, 2 potential banana peels, Northwestern and UConn, had no trouble with either of those 2 teams. And I think that signals where they have progressed with Mike Elko right now. By the way, I mean, he's 13-4 against the straight up, 12-5 against the spread since he took over at Duke. And Riley Leonard, listen, he is a Quintus prototype dual threat quarterback. He does it running and passing. They played Hartman last year and beat Hartman. One note, Notre Dame has this curious thing going in regular season games against the ACC. They've won 29 straight, but that's fluky. The way they just caught everybody right. They've been favored in almost all those games. I know they're favored in this one, but the dynamics for once sort of set up against Notre Dame in this spot. And I think Duke's for real, and I think Elko is, man, they got to do something to hang on to him at Duke if they can, because they're going to come calling for him. Duke 27-24. I'm going to call the upset. Wow. I think this team, is right there in the ACC. I think Florida State better watch out, and Miami, Duke's coming to play this year.
Bruce, how wide open is it as we end September? 5 playing Saturdays in September, but as we end it in next week, start October, how wide open for the football 4 and potential teams that can win it? I know it's going to boil down, but right now, how many do you have out there kind of in the broad metrics?
Oh, God, I think, 12 to 15 probably, although it may look like a pretty familiar bunch at the end there. But for right now, there's a whole slew of teams. I think we're going to keep an eye on, I'm still not quite sold on Florida State yet. Somebody's going to start losing some games in the Pac-12. You got 3, I think, that have a real shot at the Final Four. Is one of these outsiders going to keep winning like this? Can Duke really push this? Well, long way to go. Interesting. I mean, there's some other undefeateds out there, and they'll start falling by the wayside, the Louisvilles and sides like that. I don't think we'll be there at the end, but right now it looks pretty wide open. And the other thing, Brett, Georgia and Michigan, the 1-2 teams in the country, neither one has covered a point spread yet. And here we are almost into October. And I don't think either team has had to shift out of the second gear. Now they may have to. Georgia sort of did, I guess, the second half against South Carolina. We'll start seeing this week when they both play their first road games. But I think both those two have to pick up the pace a little bit because neither of them looks untouchable to this point.
Yeah, I think you're right on that. Another one that I'm really intrigued about tomorrow afternoon, ranked matchup, Kansas at Texas on ABC. Both teams come in undefeated, but right now Texas is a 16. I think earlier I saw it 16.5 point favorite over Kansas at home. That total's sitting around 61. What do you like in this one?
Well, one thing about the Big 12, I think the Big 12 is down this year, maybe considerably. Wow. Now we're at TCU's. I'm not sure how far down TCU is. I think we've sort of forgotten about them after the Colorado game. They still might be really good, but Oklahoma State's way down this year. Iowa State started to slip last year. Baylor has slipped from where it was not long ago.
TCU has slipped.
Yeah, TCU, Texas Tech, and now it was Schuff out at quarterback down. West Virginia is 3-1, but not great. And these new teams that are coming in this year, none of them look like they're going to bowl everybody over. Decent, not great. So there's a chance for Texas or Oklahoma, I think, to maybe make a real run through this thing, or one of the Kansas schools. More likely Kansas State, but Kansas thinks it's got a chance. Last year started off really quick. The schedule helped, but they also started to pick up injuries into October, including Jalen Daniels, the quarterback, and they started to fade out of it, including when Texas laid him out last November. But before that, Kansas had given Texas a lot of trouble, and Kansas was bad, believe it or not. This is the game Leopold won 2 years ago in Austin, I think really turned around the fortunes of the Kansas program.
Right, yeah.
They do a lot of things offensively, a lot of different formations, a lot of different sets. And, oh, by the way, I did mention Texas, Oklahoma. They play next week in Dallas. So if there is a look ahead, it's possible this could be a week for that. And Texas has not been that. I know when Texas has looked good, it's looked real good, but haven't looked really great every week. Wyoming game, Rice game, left something to be desired. I'm taking Kansas plus with Jalen Daniels healthy. Maybe not to win it, but to stick within 16.5. 34-24 Texas, but I think Kansas hangs around in Austin.
Did you ever think you would see a lifetime where you would you'd put out putting real money on the Kansas Jayhawks in football?
I know, it is a strange year.
Yeah, it is. And Kansas, a good team last year, and really shoulda, coulda last year against Texas. How good's Alabama? How good's the SEC, Bruce?
To be determined, because I'm not sure the top of the SEC's down, I think, too. I mean, that's pretty clear. And at the top even, Georgia got to show a little bit more. LSU has already lost again. The non-conference mark was not great this year in this league. So, Tennessee might have regressed some from last year. I'm not sure Ole Miss is what it was last year. A&M, we'll see. But no, I think the SEC is down, and there's still room for Bama to make a move back in. I think if Milroe offers them some stability there, which he might, and things settle down a bit. Alabama, I mean, listen, Nick Saban has won national titles before where he's lost a game, so I don't count them out of it at all, and that's why I think they'll probably handle Mississippi State tomorrow. One note about that game, you did see last week, Zach Arnett, after he heard you and me, Brett and Bryant, and then talking to Richard Cross down in Mississippi last week about, if they don't let Rodgers open it up like they used to when Mike Leach was around, they might as well play Mike Wright at quarterback.
He went for 400.
They let him open it up last week. Yeah, and they almost stole one at South Carolina. But Nick Saban has really let out Mississippi State have it for years. The only time he lost to them was his first year at Tuscaloosa, and Sly Kroom beat him back in 2007. So I think Bama goes down there and gets Mississippi State tomorrow. I'm curious if Bama's going to be able to pick up some momentum here. And tomorrow will be a good indicator out on the road if they can do it.
Another one in the SEC tomorrow morning. Florida back in the top 25 after that win a couple weeks ago against Tennessee. They're ranked 22nd. They go up to Kentucky to take on the Wildcats. That right now, Kentucky, a 1-point favorite at home. That total about 44.5 on ESPN tomorrow morning. What do you like in this one?
Well, Kentucky's another one of these teams, and like Louisville and some of these others, we'll find out pretty quick how good they really are. That schedule, I mean, in Mark Stoops' wildest dreams, he couldn't have had first 4 weeks with a schedule like that. It's like then they handed it to him and said, "Here you go, Mark, what you want?" You go, "Really? Wow, that's great." So we'll find out. But they have turned this series around. They've beaten Florida a few times. Remember, they went from 87 through 2017. They didn't beat Florida. I think it was 31 straight games Florida won. Kentucky has turned this around. They've been covering these games lately, winning a few, won last year in the Swamp, kind of controlled the matters up front. They're thinking that, Devin Leary's starting to come around now at quarterback, and the offense really had its best game of the year last week against Vanderbilt. Also, 2 pick sixes. They've got a bunch of ball hawks in that secondary. So Graham Mertz better be careful. I needed more evidence on Florida. I think Kentucky's going to be okay and better than it was last year because I think Leary is going to step in, and they lost Levis for a good last half of last season. So I think this will make Kentucky stronger. I am still not convinced about Florida because that one game against Tennessee, they did not look good against Charlotte last week, by the way, and didn't come close to covering that game. So I'm going to take Kentucky in this one, 24-17. And I think the Cats get them in Lexington.
You're absolutely right about that game against Charlotte last week. But for you, Bruce, before we get into some of these NFL games, what is your favorite college football game of the weekend? And then we love getting that kind of off-the-wall group of 5 game from you. What do you like kind of in that area this weekend?
Well, one I'm going to look at that we haven't talked about yet is Syracuse. Here's another team that's sitting undefeated coming out of September. And usually they have started fast in the past with Dino Babers, and usually they start to wear down the second half of the season. But we ain't there yet. And, oh, by the way, they have played Clemson really tough in recent years. The only time Dino has not covered a spread the last 6 against Dabo was during the pandemic season of 2020 when Syracuse really had trouble. This Clemson team, guys, they look like they've got a death wish to me. I mean, what they're doing, the way they're blowing some of these games, fumbles going the other way, can't kick a field goal if their life depended on it. Garrett Morris coming over from, or Garrett Riley, I'm sorry, coming over from TCU, the coordinator.
Shall we say they're Clemsoning?
Well, you know what? He doesn't have to do what he did at TCU last year, to get really aggressive and do some tricky things. He got a little too cute last week at the end of the game. I thought his play calling was abysmal in overtime there, and it cost him. I think Syracuse got a shot. By the way, Rocky Long is coordinating this defense this season, and I think he is very, very we know what he can do. And Schrader, the quarterback, ex-Mississippi State, he might, have a future in the NFL too. Syracuse might win this game outright tomorrow. I'll certainly take them plus the points. One other in the Mountain West tomorrow. This is way off the beaten track here. New Mexico, haven't brought them up too much lately. Plus 14 up at Wyoming. This has been a very competitive series in recent years. Wyoming is tough, but they're not really a margin team. And that game against App State, I don't know how they won that game last week. They only had 31 yards passing. New Mexico has got a little offense this year. Finally got a quarterback. Dylan Hopkins from UAB is there. He's already thrown twice as many TD passes as New Mexico threw all of last season. That's not much. It's 6 versus 3. But at least he gives them a real quarterback. They won a game on the road last week at UMass. 14 is not insignificant for Wyoming to be laying the way they play. So I'll take New Mexico plus tomorrow in Laramie.
Talking to Bruce Marshall from Vegas Insider, CBS Sports, and BAMSports.net. Well, Bruce, let's go over to the NFL, kicking off bright and early Sunday morning at Wembley Stadium between the Falcons and the Jaguars. Jaguars right now a 3-point favorite against the Falcons. What do you like bright and early Sunday morning?
And how many times have you been to Wembley Stadium?
Oh, yeah.
I have been to the old Wembley. I've not been to the new one yet, believe it or not.
Okay.
I've seen it, and you can see it far away in London because they got that arch there, but I have not been. It's right where the old one used to be, but I've never been in it. And they will. There's the first of several of these games. I think Jacksonville is going to be staying in London. They're playing at Tottenham Stadium next week against the Bills, so they're going to stay there for a whole week. I think Jacksonville bounces back. I don't know what happened last week against Houston, but that just didn't figure like that. They got punched in the nose. I've watched Atlanta play. If the running game really isn't working for Desmond Ridder, this offense is really stuck in the mud. You saw what the Lions did to them last week, completely shut them down. I think Trevor Lawrence bounces back this week because Atlanta does not have a lot of offense. So I will take the Jags in this one, 24-16 at Wembley.
One of my favorite games Sunday, Ravens at Cleveland, at Cleveland Browns Stadium. Browns a slim favorite, 1.5. Kind of supremacy in the AFC North, a little stake to it, both 2-1. Lamar Jackson for the Ravens off a tough luck loss last week.
Yeah, and they didn't get any help from the refs last week, that's for sure. But, they're cutting it pretty close. And they've got some injuries, and John Harbaugh's not making excuses, but they're asking Lamar to do an awful lot. They haven't. They didn't even look that great that game they won against Houston in opening week, and it was really tight, nip and tuck at Cincy. Then they lose last week. I kind of like the Browns a bit, and this is all depending upon Deshaun Watson not self-destructing like he did that game at Pittsburgh, a game they really never should have lost. He's responsible for 2 touchdowns the other way. Those 2 home games thus far, Cleveland has allowed 3 points to Cincy, 3 points to Tennessee, and those teams combined have about 235 yards of offense. This defense is real, and I think as long as Watson doesn't mess things up, I think Cleveland wins 20-13 Browns. I'm not sure this isn't the team to beat in the AFC North.
I think you're right. Bruce, give us your favorite NFL pick and then your thoughts on the weekend in baseball. And I thought it was despicable that what Major League Baseball allowed the Mets to do to the Marlins this week and last night. But first, your favorite NFL pick.
Actually, it seems like sort of a cop-out to take the Chiefs over the Jets, but I'm going to do it.
Why not?
Because
when they give you money, take it.
They're putting it out there. The Jets – Zach Wilson, let's go back a couple of years. And, Brett, we talked about this during the COVID year. And that's the key. That's when Wilson became a first-round pick. was during that season.
Off
And
the
BYU
Coastal Carolina game.
Yep, and the Coastal Carolina game, and they were playing the Navy game at the start of the year. His credentials were really burnished during the COVID season, and we look back and think, geez, there's so many vagaries about that year, and this is one of these sort of false alarms. Joe Namath's right. I mean, I hate to say it, but I mean, they need to do something else, and I think they will. And it might be as soon as next week. They've just brought Trevor Siemian in. He's going to be a better option. Probably not Sunday night. But they're stuck on 10 points each of the last 2 weeks with Wilson. That's not enough to beat the Chiefs, who were, last I saw, like 9.5. So I'll go ahead. I'll lay it with Kansas City on Sunday night.
And then your thoughts on baseball this weekend, wrapping up, and then into the wild card next week.
Yeah, so by the way, I may go watch the Angels and the A's tonight. This is the MLB equivalent of the Denver-Chicago game.
That's right.
I'm trying to catch a foul ball for the first time in my life, so I'm dragging my wife along, so I think we'll go. Yes, I think you're right. I mean, what the Marlins this week, the fact they may have to go back there and complete a suspended game,
Crazy.
I mean, they should have done everything they could have while they could this week to get those games in with the Mets, and that was pretty ridiculous. But we've got some interesting things. I'm very curious about Seattle here, which still controls its destiny. And you talk about pulling one out of the fire last night with Crawford's 2-run, 2-out single in the ninth to stay alive against Texas. Keep an eye. I mean, Seattle, nobody has been able to lock this AL West down all season. Houston's floundered. Seattle's had its chance. So has Texas. Texas got hot here in the last 2 weeks, but they blow one last night. That's interesting, but it's all over the league. Houston's playing, Arizona this weekend. You got the Cubs playing. You've got, Toronto and, the Reds. It's all still to play for, but I'm really keeping an eye on that Texas-Seattle series up in Seattle.
Yeah, that's going to be a good one. Well, Bruce, before we let you go, where can we find more of you?
Yeah, thanks, Brian. Check us out online at VegasInsider.com. Picks on all these games. I got baseball tonight. I got NFL Sunday. I got college football Saturday, and some college football tonight, too. VegasInsider.com. You can also read my stuff at CBS Sportsline, Sportsline.com. And as always, BAMSports.net. I write up all the college and pro games each week. BAMSports.net.
Good luck this weekend, Bruce. We'll do it again Friday.
Okay. Have a good weekend, boys.
Thank you, Bruce. Enjoy the baseball tonight. How about that? Going to the last Friday night of the regular season. I love it.
And seeing the A's and the Angels, even better.
That's a fan, isn't it?
That sure is. That you got to be dedicated to do that. But he's right. It's going to be a wild weekend in Major League Baseball. It's going to be a ton of fun to watch. But let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk about the weekend in the SEC. We'll also have to break down this Ole Miss versus LSU game tomorrow evening. But before we get to the break, here's another traffic update.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. I'm looking at a crash right now in a terrible spot. It's going to be on 385 Bill Morris Parkway right before you get to Ridgeway. That's going to back up that traffic coming off 240 now on to 385 Bill Morris Parkway as you head out towards Collierville. Keep that in mind. It's already crowded over here this time of the afternoon as it is. It's picked up with more volume on 55 southbound across the bridge coming over from West Memphis. Weimer's Jewelry at 7525 Highway 64 is your full-service family-owned jewelry store right here in Memphis. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
We are real sports talk. Sports 56 WHBQ. Available on your radio dial at 560 AM and 98.5 FM, as well as around the world online at sports56whbq.com. Take us with you everywhere by downloading the Sports 56 app. And at home, just say, Alexa, play Sports 56. Wherever you are, stay tuned in to Real Sports Talk. Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
7.
12. What are we playing?
Central Barbecue has 7 different kinds of sandwiches.
Okay, does that seem like a lot?
Are you kidding? 7 may be the most perfect amount of sandwiches. See, they got the pulled pork. You can get chopped on request. Then trim sliced beef brisket sandwich. There's 2 right there.
I'm not sure exactly.
Look, you've also got the pulled chicken, the smoked turkey, the marinated portobello mushroom sandwich.
That seems like plenty.
You would think, but then you also got the smoked sausage and the barbecue bologna sandwich.
You're right. 7 may be the perfect amount of sandwiches.
The people at Central Barbecue are genius.
Wow, I feel good. shopping at DriveMax. DriveMax! DriveMax! You get value.
Need a car that screams I feel good? DriveMax has it all. From cars to SUVs, find a tightly inspected used car that'll have you dancing all the way home. Call 901-664-2424 or visit DriveMaxApproval.com.
DriveMax! I got approved!
Hi, this is Troy Fiveash, owner of Fiveash Roof Services. If you need a new roof for your home or business, we hope to hear from you and will work hard to earn your business. We are experts and certified in residential and commercial roofing, siding, and gutter installation. I have been serving the Memphis area for over 20 years, and now with 2 of my sons working with me, we plan to be here for years to come. So if you need a roof, please give us a call. On a personal note, what a great time it is to be a Memphis sports fan. With the Grizzlies and the Redbirds and 901 FC, not to mention Tigers football and basketball, it's going to be a fun year. Thanks to Coach Silverfield and Coach Hardaway and their staffs for their dedication to the student and athletes, the University of Memphis, the City of Memphis, and us fans. Five Ash Roof Services, a proud partner of the Memphis Tigers and the official roofer of the Tigers home team. Five Ash Roofing, fair, honest, and ethical. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com. 367-0050 or memphisroofer.com.
Five Ash Roofing, it's what we do. We're here for you.
You or someone you know or care about has dealt with a difficult divorce. When facing divorce, you need the attorneys at Rice Law. Nick and Larry Rice lead the firm with 3 generations and 7 decades of experience. Located in Memphis, serving the entire state of Tennessee and North Mississippi. Rice Law is who you need to call. Simple or difficult divorce, they know how to handle it. Call Rice Law at 901-526-6701, or for more information, visit them at aboutdivorce.com. That's aboutdivorce.com.
Ready for a new ride? We got it covered at Gossett Kia on the Pike. 41 MPG Highway, we got it with 2023 Kia Forte LXS. $229 a month, $29.99 to its signing. Get some EV action in 2023 Nero EV Wind SUV. 253 miles of EPA estimated range, $269 a month, $49.99 to its signing. Plus, check out 2023 Kia EV6 Wind. Get up to 134 city, 101 highway MPGe, $399 a month, $49.99 to its signing. And Gossett will include a free charger with your EV purchase, all 36-month leases, plus Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. Ask for Bobby J. He's ready to put you in a new Kia today. Gossett Kia, 1900 Covington Pike, or online, KiaCovingtonPike.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 36 months, 650 acquisition fee, Forte LSX, PE 678605, MSRP 21610, Nero P507859, MSRP 4109, EV6, P561964, MSRP 49687, includes all rebates and incentives, must finance through Hyundai, excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 10/2/2023 with approved credit, dealer stock only.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Welcome back into Sports Time. Bryant and Brett with you. We're in our family leisure studios, and we've talked a lot of football today. We talked about the American in the first hour, but we got to talk about the SEC this weekend. Brett, you mentioned it earlier this week, and we got a slight taste of it last week, but we're really getting to the point of the season where it's all SEC in-conference play between these teams, and it's glorious to see, and we know what that means in a conference like the SEC, even though, you know, maybe some people want to say it's kind of a down year in terms of kind of that top bunch of teams with Alabama struggling early. Anytime you get an SEC versus SEC game, it's going to be a good game, and it could really be anybody's night to win.
Brian, I think the very real case of SEC being down this year, it's still really good, but it's down. It's down. I think it's down certainly compared to the Pac-12, to the Big Ten, I think to the ACC. And Bruce's not very big on the Big 12, but I don't see a lot of differences in those two. Look, Texas and OU this year, they're still in the Big 12. You can't play it both ways. You can SEC can't claim, you know, SEC pride in those two this year. Not until, you know, July 1 of next year can you do that. And I think that perception that's real, that it's down, adds to the frustration of Arkansas fans, to Ole Miss fans, to Mississippi State fans, to maybe Tennessee fans of it's wide open and we still can't get there.
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, it really might be, but I'm excited for tomorrow. I mean, we start early tomorrow morning with a pair of SEC games, Florida at Kentucky. I was real interested to hear Bruce's thoughts about that game because I've seen a lot of people go back and forth and a lot of people questioning, well, how is Kentucky at home only a 1-point favorite? So I was interested to get his thoughts, and then talking all week about this Texas A&M Arkansas game down in Dallas. I mean, these
both
are
of those games.
Oh yeah, two really good games to start the day.
Two great 11-o'clockers, and all four of those teams feel a little fragile, don't they?
Yeah.
It feels like the proverbial Yogi Berra fork in the road. You need to take it, and they need to take it. If it's ever been wide open for Kentucky, it's this year. It's this week. Mm-hmm. Didn't we feel like that this time last year, though? On this very weekend when Kentucky came to Oxford undefeated and ranked whatever.
Yep.
7th, 8th, whatever they were, top 10, and that ended up not being close to the accurate portrayal of a Kentucky team. But, tomorrow for them at home against Florida, if they're ever going to do it 3 straight, it's it. Georgia and Auburn, as I said earlier, the idea that this ends this run for the, I mean, the pandemic didn't. I don't think World War II ended this long run, the South's oldest rivalry, and a lot of these games are going to go by the wayside with the new alignment. They're not playing next year, and that's unfortunate. Mm-hmm. What's the real Missouri?
Yeah.
What's the real LSU? Is the real LSU the fourth quarter against Florida State? Probably not. Is it the Mississippi State game? Probably not. Is it most of the Arkansas game?
Yeah.
Maybe.
Yeah, I mean, and that's a good test for LSU on the road against
the real Ole Miss.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Hadn't come close to playing a 4-quarter game all year. Not even close. Real good late third, most of the fourth quarter against Tulane. Kind of the same against Haynes King and Georgia Tech. And then last week, just nothing in the second half at Alabama. Really stymied, and the fundamental tenet of a Lane Kiffin team at Ole Miss has been the ability to run the ball. Then it opens up everything. It opens up quarterback draws. It opens up the passing game, and just hadn't been able to run it. Quinshon Judkins has not been effective. He's very tentative at the line of scrimmage because there's no hole there.
Yeah, and so you've seen that, and then going into the season, it was going to be run the ball, run the ball, run the ball, it seemed like for Ole Miss.
And then hit it over their head.
Yeah, and it just hasn't been that this year. So maybe could this be a game where they kind of find something at home and kind of get that run game working? Curious to you, because I know you're more in touch with these SEC teams and these SEC games than I am, and I'm excited to ask Ty about this to start our next hour at 5 o'clock. But for Texas A&M and Arkansas, this game being played in Dallas, what is that? What is the crowd percentage like in a game in Dallas between those two teams?
It's been pretty even. When this game was drawn up as the Southwest Classic, there was really no idea of A&M coming into the SEC, and they had some real high marks for what this game could draw, what it could do with signage, what it could do with corporate, and it's just never hit it. Mm-hmm. It's been good. It just never got to that. And then it got a little watered down, homogenized when A&M came in as a league game. And after next year, I was wrong the other day with Dave. It's after next year. It's one more, as Olin Buchanan told us. One more next year at AT&T Stadium, and then to campus where I think everybody's going to be glad of. As I said with Olin, 100-year check in Arkansas, they all have to say the right things. Because look, Jerry Jones, never mind that he writes a really big check. He loves the place. Yes. He wanted it to work at his stadium. He wanted his Razorbacks in his stadium against the team from Texas, and it just hadn't had the pizzazz that they thought it would have. And now that they're going to be in the league, it's just not necessary for them to play. It'll be fun to ask Ty what he thinks the split will be. I think bright and early tomorrow morning is going to dull it a little bit. When it's been real good and when it's been more the nighttime affair, I think last year was in that crazy game that kind of stayed with Arkansas all year. Tennessee fans, if you think you're aggravated after yet another loss at Florida, try losing back-to-back to Shane Beamer. And if they do that tomorrow, the Heupel honeymoon, he's not going to be in job security trouble, but the Heupel honeymoon's going to be over. And I've said it. If he can't get Joe Milton worked out, then nobody can.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. And I'm curious. I heard John earlier today. He was on remote out at Town Village, and he was talking about, this wild conspiracy theory in his head of Nico getting in tomorrow. Is there a point for Tennessee that they turn to Nico at any point this season?
I don't dismiss that with John, but here's what, and Heupel's aware of this. You can play a freshman quarterback too soon.
Oh,
and once you do, and his mind's blown, it's hard to get him back. I've seen freshmen go out there way too soon and really not ever be what they should have been. It possibly could have happened to Haynes King at A&M, and needed a little more time and a little more confidence. But that coaching staff, they got to win. They can't worry about the psychological ramifications of it. And if Joe Milton just doesn't have it, then and John could be right. They could have to play more Nico.
That'd be interesting.
And the fans love the backup quarterback.
Oh, it's everywhere, Brett. Everybody loves the backup, and
until he disappoints you.
And then you want the starter back in there. So no, that'll be an interesting. I've heard a lot of people. I think I'm not positive. So please correct me if I'm wrong. I think both Alan and Bruce. Did we ask both of them about the South Carolina Tennessee game? And they both had South Carolina. I know at least one of them did.
Alan did.
Alan did.
Bruce, no opinion on it.
Okay, cool. So I've heard a lot of people, with Alan, and then, all week this week, I've heard a lot of people talking about South Carolina being able to cover that spread tomorrow against Tennessee. So that could be a really fun game. And we can't forget South Carolina, while they lost to Georgia 2 weeks ago, they were up 14-0, 14-3 early in that game before Georgia really came back in that second half. So this is a team that's going to come out fast and try to put up points really early in that game.
And a real late night Saturday night for Alabama and Mississippi State in Starkville. Bama, did they really get well last week? Was that the real Mississippi State in a competitive loss to South Carolina, or is the real Mississippi State the blowout at home against LSU? Now, it's different quality opponents, LSU and South Carolina, fully recognize that. But South Carolina, they were at home, and State was at home when they lost to LSU. So the mastery that Nick Saban's had over everybody. Bruce mentioned the only win was Sylvester Croom's win in 2007 over Alabama. Well, that was Nick Saban's first year. And since then, he hadn't lost to many people.
Yeah, no, you're right about that. And I'm curious, and I know Bruce kind of made mention of it as well when he was talking about this game. But for Mississippi State, I mean, we saw them kind of open up that offense, that air raid attack a little bit more than they did in those first couple of games with Will Rogers back there and threw for almost 500 yards against South Carolina. So I'm curious, do they continue to roll with that? Even though in a loss last week you almost throw for 500 yards, that's incredible. So do they continue?
And a pretty good run game for State.
Yeah, you're right about that. So do they continue kind of with that same style we saw last week against South Carolina? And for Alabama's defense, does that give them fits? I mean, we know how good the secondary is with Kool-Aid McKinstry back there. I mean, that's a matchup I'm really excited to see is this pass-happy offense of Mississippi State versus that secondary of Alabama.
Alabama's secondary just had Ole Miss locked down. There was no separation for those receivers last week. Yeah. And with the lack of quality protection of Jackson Dart, I mean, that blew the game plan really for the whole second half. And the Alabama adjustments at halftime were better than the Ole Miss adjustments.
Yeah. I mean, we talked about it all week. I mean, Ole Miss goes into the locker room feeling pretty good with a lead at halftime, and those adjustments pretty good. Yes. And so I mean, you saw those adjustments, but tomorrow for Ole Miss, how do they respond? I mean, that's a tough back-to-back of you go to Tuscaloosa and play Alabama and a kind of a crushing loss, a game that I'm sure a lot of them thought you could go and play upset, and you have to come back home and play LSU.
Well, you've known for a year you're going to have to do it. Right. So, and you sure have known it, since August camp started, and you got to somehow get that one behind you last week. And, we'll see. If anybody can wake you up in the Ole Miss world, it's got to be facing LSU in Oxford. And, last year it was kind of the same thing, even a better performance first half last year at Baton Rouge for Ole Miss, and then the second half was all Jaden Daniels. He's much better this year than he was last year.
Yes, absolutely. And I heard you with Dave on Wednesday talking about his numbers this year, and it blew my mind because I didn't even realize it was that good in comparison to last year. So it's going to be a tough test.
12 touchdowns to 2 interceptions this year. For the whole year last year, it was 17-5. So he's going to blow through that. And he's still got those wheels, and he's got a really good offensive line. And I think for Ole Miss, they need to come out and run the ball and run it right at LSU.
Yes.
Don't try to go side to side, because you couldn't go side to side against Alabama in the same team speed LSU has. The same team speed as Alabama. If you can't go side to side against Alabama, you can't against LSU.
Yeah, you're right about that. Well, I know we need to get to a break, but last thing for you, Brett, I know you're going to be busy tomorrow with that Ole Miss game, but outside of that LSU Ole Miss game, what game out of all of these great matchups are you looking forward to the most tomorrow?
I want to see what we really have in Georgia. They just haven't been tested yet. UT Martin, Ball State. South Carolina, a little more testing, not much from UAB. I want to see if somebody can really challenge Georgia, because you got, tomorrow on the Plains, then next week Kentucky at home, okay, but it's at Athens, and then Vanderbilt, then open date, and then cocktail party. We thought this was soft, and it's even looking softer. You look into the Ole Miss game in November as one that we thought maybe in the preseason it could be a challenge that doesn't look like quite the challenge. It could change back, but it doesn't look like quite the challenge it did in the preseason.
Yeah, and we've seen some slow starts from Georgia, so that's a good one. That game 2:30 tomorrow on CBS. But let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, it'll be time for Big Number of the Day.
Add a little fun to your lunch break. Join Johnny Radio for Sports 56 Happy Hour from 11 to 1 every weekday on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Jeep Adventure Days and Ram Power Days are going strong at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike. And if you're ready to save big bucks, we Gossett! Show off your style in 2023 Fiat 500X Pop 4-door, Gossett priced at $28,990 or $354 a month with 0% APR. Or take your pick with 2023 Jeep Renegade or 2023 Dodge Charger, now just $422 a month. And if you're looking for big savings on your 2023 Ram 1500, get to Gossett for just $587 a month. And if we don't have it, Gossett can order it today. So drive past the rest and come to the best at Gossett on the Pike, or shop online at GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 3500 Elmas financed through Chrysler. Pop PP 988,763. MSRP 31,355. Renegade PPP 45,607. MSRP 30,500. Charger PH 508,657. MSRP 35,930. Ram PN 693 3965. MSRP 48,330. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695. Excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 9/30/2023 with approved credit dealer stock only.
Jenkins Floors and More in Hernando is growing. This family business started up 5 years ago with just one pallet, and now they have hundreds. Tim, the owner, gets calls from people everywhere and can sometimes save them up to 50% on wood flooring, carpet, tile, and vinyl. Jenkins Floors and More helps with renovations, home building, and installation. Jenkins Floors and More, number 6 East Commerce Street in Hernando. Also in Little Rock and coming soon to Tennessee. Call 662-469-9350 for more information.
Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis in Olive Branch has an offer you can't refuse. They will pay you to do business with them if you want luxury. And I'm talking the Genesis G70 car. If you would love to have that kind of new technology, they will give you a $1,000 rebate when you finance with Genesis Motor Finance. In other words, they'll pay you $1,000 to do business with them, and you get brand new luxury. You can't beat it. That's Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis, right at the corner of Craft Road and Highway 78 in Olive Branch. Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis in Olive Branch, where customer retention is amazing. There's a reason. They take care of you with a team that's been together for a long time. Whether it's finance or whether it's service, you can't beat them. Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis.
Golfers, swing into Edwin Watts Golf Shops for the hottest new fall arrivals from TaylorMade, Callaway, and Titleist. Come by and test drive the new TaylorMade P790 irons, the new Callaway Apex Pro iron sets, and the new Titleist T-Series irons. While you're there, get a free custom fitting on the new arrivals and more. Edwin Watts Golf Shops is your headquarters for all the latest golf gear from all the top manufacturers. Edwin Watts Golf Shops, home of the 90-day satisfaction guarantee. Shop us in store or online at edwinwattsgolf.com.
Chris Price here with Metro Builders. Is your roof leaking? Do you have mold stains on the ceiling of your home or business? Is your carrier denying your claim or offering a repair because they just don't have enough documentation? You need a contractor that performs work for insurance carriers each and every day, and Metro Builders is here to assist. This is why you call Metro Builders. At Metro Builders, we provide free estimates and consultation and love to assist homeowners with their claims. Metro Builders' process of arriving, inspecting, and diagnosing problems is second to none. Our team of Hague-certified technicians are standing by to assist you with providing estimates and photos to your carrier to document your loss. And the best part of all you owe is what your policy states. No large fees on top of the final scope. We use high-grade materials and are certified by companies like Atlas, CertainTeed, Owens Corning, and even Mulehide. We offer best-in-class warranties on all of our jobs, up to 50 years. When it comes to roofs and restoration, call Metro Builders to schedule your free inspection. Call me. 901-375-1717. That's 901-375-1717.
I'm Gary York. I'm the service director at Lexus of Memphis. Our service department wants to be more than just a place where you get your oil changed. We do glass repair, windshield replacement, recalibration of your camera and sonar systems, even wheel repair, tire replacement, all the things you would expect from a luxury automotive dealer. Please check out our website. You can schedule your appointment, check out our specials, hours of operation, or if you'd like to do it in person, please reach out to one of our associates at 901-271-5199.
Now back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Big Daddy.
Hello, Big Brand. It's a guy, he wants to be big, then he gets big, he doesn't want to be big anymore, then he gets small, but the suit's too big.
Big Daddy.
The big boy.
You're a big guy. I think she's trying to pull a fast one on Big Daddy.
The big number of the day.
Well, say what you want about this big number that I'm about to give, but I'm going to give another baseball big number. I did one yesterday for walks with J.P. Crawford for the Mariners. Today, this one involves Corbin Carroll, but it involves all of the NL rookies. My big number today, 395, led by Corbin Carroll. This is from OptaStats. Led by Corbin Carroll.
My preseason rookie of the year of the National League.
That's right. Who has 52 stolen bases this season, Corbin Carroll does. This season's National League rookies have combined for 395 stolen bases. That is the most stolen bases that NL rookies have combined for in a season since 1899, which was 478 back in 1899. Now, say what you want about that. Obviously, bigger bases, the pick-off rules for pitchers.
Speed's back.
But speed is back, and I think it's making it fun. I mean, we talked all year about these rookies and how electric they were. Well, part of that is the stolen bases, the speed on these guys. Corbin Carroll is one of the fastest guys I've seen play baseball in a really long time. And so, I think the future is very bright in Major League Baseball, and I think this number just highlights that. And with the rule changes, I think very exciting the future for Major League Baseball.
Arizona, they got a little work left to be done right now. They would be the 5 seed. They have 75 losses. The Marlins have 76. The Cubs have 77. The Reds aren't finished yet. They have 78 losses. But speed's back in baseball, and I'm okay by that. People are going to have to adjust. The Cardinals are going to have to get much younger, much faster.
Yes.
But they need everything. You know what? But that's an okay point to get to when you need it all, because that's this is rock bottom, and only one way to climb from that. My big number is 91. Sam Hartman at Notre Dame with 91 touchdown passes since 2021. That's most by any Power 5 quarterback. 14 touchdowns, 0 interceptions this year for the Fighting Irish. He has 124 touchdowns in his college career. That's 7th most in college football history. He was out there to be had in free agency.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Why didn't Alabama make a big run at him?
That's a good question, but I mean,
imagine where they would be with him.
Oh,
I mean, you could leave Tommy Reese and Buckner at Notre Dame.
Well, and it's a good point by you because a lot of the conversations between Sam Hartman during the transfer portal, he's come out and said was when he was talking to executives and scouts from the NFL, they were saying, look, you're a good quarterback, and we like what we see from you, but with this kind of mesh option, the claw fence that you're running at Wake Forest, we just don't know if we trust you as an NFL quarterback. We would love to see you in a pro style, and so that's what led him to go to Notre Dame with the pro style that they run. But, I mean, Alabama, you look at the quarterbacks that have come out of Alabama and now what they're doing as starters in the NFL, that's a great point. I mean, I think Sam Hartman would have been a home run get for Alabama this offseason.
Maybe the difference in them being in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. So I mean, that's a really good big number by you. And that's
Diamondbacks tonight against the Astros. That's a big time game, isn't it?
For both teams. I mean, you have
Gallen going. Your guy Gallen going for Arizona.
Yeah, and so I think this is going to be a really fun game to watch. I mean, both teams really need wins. Arizona trying to clinch that spot while the Astros are trying to kind of keep that lead over the Mariners and even still have an opportunity to clinch that AL West. So you've mentioned it. I think we talked about it during one of the breaks earlier, and maybe you mentioned it on the show, but there are a lot of intriguing matchups in Major League Baseball this weekend, and I'm extremely excited to watch all of them. So it's going to be a lot of fun. But before we get to a break, the weekend is almost here, and I know you're looking for a night out, so let me point you into the direction of 117 Prime, located at 117 Union Avenue and opening 4 p.m. daily. 117 Prime offers perfect steaks cooked to your liking over hickory wood for the best flavor in town. And the meat, it's regionally sourced for the best taste, so you don't have to worry about it traveling cross-country like some of these other steakhouses. Pair your steak with a wine from their award-winning wine menu or switch it up with their wine of the month. If you're not a fan of beef, no problem. 117 Prime also offers outstanding seafood like oyster, shrimp, and lobster. Also, get down there right now and enjoy their happy hour from 4 to 6, Tuesday through Saturday for the best happy hour that downtown Memphis has to offer. To make reservations, head over to 117prime.com or give them a call, 901-433-9851. That's 901-433-9851 for 117 Prime. Well, that'll do it for hour number 2. Let's go ahead and get to a break. When we come back, we'll talk the Razorbacks with Ty Richardson from ESPN Arkansas. But first, here's another traffic update.
Sports 56 traffic.
Good afternoon. We still have traffic running slow from a couple of wrecks. It's been out here for a while. One is Billmore's Parkway going outbound right near Ridgeway. That's slowing down that traffic a little extra there as you come off 240 onto 385 going outbound. Trying to mop up this earlier wreck on 240 East at Poplar. Again, pretty slow at 240 East now at Mount Moriah. Heavy traffic flow as we stare at it live on 55 northbound between South Parkway and Macklemore in that construction zone. Weimer's Jewelry, they're back open better than ever. 7525 Highway 64. Go see them this weekend at Weimer's Jewelry. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
I'm with John Burgos from the world-famous Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948.
Brett, we have catered parties all over this country and all over the world, from Singapore, Australia to Central Park in New York, but many people don't realize how much we do locally. For holiday events, office parties, tailgating, birthday parties, you can't do better than the Rendezvous. For example, you can get a cheese and sausage tray for 15 to 300 people for $3.75 a person. You can even build your own nacho bar for $10.50 per person. All you need is a minimum of 15 people. In many cases, we can arrange delivery and full-service catering. We've even made it easy to get to-go items. You could just park at our front door in the alley, put on your flashes, and we'll get you going ASAP. For all your catering items and prices, go to hogsfly.com, click on menu, and drop down to catering.
Thank you, John. The Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
If you've tried to buy a Rolex watch lately, you know how difficult it is. New models are in rare supply. Some jewelers put you on wait lists. Others make you buy their other jewelry at inflated prices just to be considered for a Rolex purchase. Well, that's all changed now that Genesis Diamonds has arrived. Genesis Diamonds is the premier dealer of luxury pre-owned Rolex timepieces. People who come in are shocked to see Daytonas, Hulks, Submariners, Pepsis, Datejusts, all the hard-to-find Rolex watches ready to wear today. At Genesis, we've used our worldwide connections to find only the first luxury pre-owned Rolexes, immaculate, pristine watches, fairly priced with no strings attached, and with flexible financing options. So enough with the wait list and the retail jeweler games. Get the Rolex of your dreams today at Genesis Diamonds. And if you already have a Rolex and are interested in trading up, we also have Rolex buyers on site every day. Just another example of how we're forever changing the jewelry landscape here. Genesis Diamonds, official jeweler of the Tennessee Titans, at Poplar and Perkins Extended.
My friends at Miramichi are always innovative. They've got a new thing going I think you're going to like. They have a staggered rate pertaining to what time of day it is. You can get a better price if you go in the later afternoon than you will in the morning or in the afternoon. From noon to 3, there is a $10 savings. There's about a $13 savings from 3 until close. You can't beat all of the innovations or the beauty at Miramichi. And folks are flocking. No longer can you get a membership. There's a waiting list, but that's how popular Miramichi has become. And why wouldn't it? You've got different levels of competition. You have 5 different tee boxes you can choose from ultra hard to ultra fun. The thing that's a constant is the beauty. The back 9 is like taking a walk through the woods with a meandering stream, and there's a waterfall you'll love. Everything about Miramichi is cool. Go check it out in Woodstock, 12 minutes north of downtown. It's Miramichi.
Hi, this is Lauren Choate with Choate's Air Conditioning, Heating, and Plumbing. Choate's is offering some amazing specials for this month only. If you're considering upgrading your furnace before the cold weather comes, Choate's is offering $1,000 off a new Carrier furnace. If you don't need a new furnace, Choate's is now offering its early bird $60 furnace tune-up. This 22-point tune-up includes a free carbon monoxide test and heat exchanger inspection. And Choate's is your indoor air quality expert. For the best quality air for you and your family, it's recommended to have your air ducts cleaned every 8 years. This month only, Choate's will install a free UV light system when you get your air ducts cleaned, a $500 value. Call us at 347-8086 to take advantage of these amazing deals. So, turn to the experts with Choate's, and remember, let our family serve your family.
Pizza lovers and sports fanatics, Ferraro's Pizzeria is your Sunday ticket headquarters. Catch every pro game on multiple big screen TVs while enjoying $2 beers, $9 beer buckets, and mouth-watering pizza. We're talking the cheesiest, most delicious New York pizzas in town with all your favorite toppings. What are you waiting for? Grab your family and friends and get to Ferraro's, corner of Jackson and Main, just east of the Pyramid. Enjoy every pro game at Ferraro's Pizzeria and Cheesy Corner, your game day destination.
We interrupt this broadcast for special news and information concerning family leisure.
The world's biggest spa sale is back and bigger than ever at Family Leisure. How is that possible? Well, let me tell you. You start off with 50 different spa models to choose from 5 different manufacturers. Then you throw in up to 30% off in-stock spas and swim spas. But is that all? Oh, no. You get free upgrades on all in-stock spas, plus 24 months, same as cash. Wow! This is the kind of sale that you just can't have every day, but it's happening right now at Family Leisure, the world's biggest spa sale. Soak in the savings right now at Family Leisure, Witten Road and I-40. You know the place where family and fun come together.
Please remain calm and walk. Don't run to Family Leisure. And now back to your regular programming.
We are Sports 56, WHBQ Memphis, and W253DF Memphis, Flynn Broadcasting Stations.
Time to talk Razorbacks on Sportstime. Joining the guys is Ty Richardson from ESPN Arkansas to talk all things Hogs and SEC. On Twitter X at Ty Sports Radio, here's Ty Richardson with Bryant, Brett, and Jay Morgan.
Come on, all you Razorback fans, let's stand up and call those Hogs!
Welcome back into Sports Time as we start our 5 o'clock hour, and you hear that intro. That means Ty Richardson from ESPN Arkansas is joining us to talk Razorbacks. Ty, thanks so much for joining us. And you know, we've talked the last couple weeks about Arkansas, this start to the season for them, but I'll have to say I was pretty impressed with how close they kept it with LSU last week, especially with LSU coming off that big win against Mississippi State. What were some of your takeaways from that game? Even though it was a loss, some of those takeaways from that game against LSU.
Guys, that game's always close, and I appreciate you guys with that awesome intro as always. Trust me, I don't deserve it, but that LSU-Arkansas game, regardless of how much more talent LSU has on their roster compared to the Razorbacks, it's tight, and it was tight in Death Valley. I was there. It was a great game, great atmosphere. I took away that Arkansas is starting to find something offensively, not just throwing the football, but running as well. Still got to clean up the mental errors and mistakes, but I walked away while sad, still feeling like this team can compete in games this fall.
Yeah, that's probably the most aggravating thing about it, Ty. Losing's always aggravating, frustrating. You feel like, just what if? But the real opportunity, the Razorbacks could be 4-0, and one of the stories of college football for sure could be 3-1 and 1-0 in the all-important SEC West. And not only found something in that run game, did it against arguably the best defensive line front in the SEC. I think LSU's better up front with hands on the ground than Alabama. I don't know that their linebacker and secondary core is better, but up front, their big guys are as good as it gets. I mean, and they're all going to the NFL.
Yeah, isn't that weird? Like, you're playing, as you just said, the most talented defensive line that Arkansas has played, and yet that might have been the best performance that we've seen in terms of getting a push running the football. Now, the stats don't necessarily bring to it, but you got to, again, factor in the talent that you're speaking of with Mason Smith, Kai Wingo, Harold Perkins as linebacker, and others. So I'm really curious. They had so many one-score losses last year, 4 games started by 9 points. That team at one point kind of disbanded before the Ole Miss game, and then they rallied. I'm curious as this team how they really focus that energy of, hey, we showed something, but do we bounce back and actually win something tomorrow in the morning against Texas A&M?
And it is bright and early, and you are deep in the heart of Texas at AT&T Stadium all together now. Jerry's World, we all say that anytime any mention of Cowboy Stadium or AT&T Stadium, and Jerry Jones loves his Razorbacks, and he loves putting on a big party. Will it be split evenly, or will one side have a few more there?
Brett, I think it'll be split evenly, but this is the first time in like 5 years that neither team is ranked, and I think this, with it being how close it is to the end of the Southwest Classic, I think this is going to be the worst showing they've had to date for Aggie and Razorback fans. I mean, they'll still put 50+ thousand in, but I think next year you'll see a boost with it being the final year, but I think this year is going to be the worst.
Well, Ty, I asked you last week. I'll ask you again. What is the availability of Rocket Sanders? Will he give it a go this week? And if so, how much action do you think he'll see coming back from injury?
Man, Brian, I keep reading into Coach Pittman's comments, and I think he's going to play. I said last week he didn't feel like that he was going to play based on what Coach was saying. He didn't make the trip, but this week sure seems like, based on Coach Pittman, how he's sounding, the guy's suiting up.
It sure feels like he is, and for sure will be, it feels like hale and hearty next week for Ole Miss. But every week in SEC is week to week. It's one-game schedules, especially in the conference play. This week in the SEC, everybody's in conference. 7 games, 14 teams going, Razorbacks at Texas A&M. And Sam Pittman had kind of a rough-and-tumble week with some of his own fans directed at social media. How did that play out over your airwaves this week, Ty?
I said that I know he gets more flack than I do, Brett, and I realize as the head coach you are subject to a lot of criticism at times, far beyond the knowledge that I would ever even contemplate. But all you got to do, I mean, Brett, you have Twitter. I don't know, you don't use it a lot, but it's not that hard to either ignore it, delete it off your phone, or just
it's really easy.
Notifications. Yeah. So I was just like, it did more harm than good for the look of Sam Pittman, just like the optics.
Right.
At the end of the day, it's not the end of the world. I mean, they still competed really hard on Saturday night, but we'll wait and see.
And along those lines, and Ty, I want to be really careful. I don't want to drag you into a dust-up with anybody. But I could not believe my eyes this week, and it's somebody that I have so much regard for him, what he stands for, stood for, how he served our country so very admirably, how he played in the NFL on Super Bowl teams with the New England Patriots, his family's commitment to the Razorbacks. I voted for him. I gave him money last year. What in the world is going on with Jake Beckett? That was disturbing, Ty. It was truly disturbing with a capital D.
Yeah, and I'm like you. I mean, I really like Jake. Jake's taking time out of his day to have a phone conversation or two with me. I had a question. I just want to hear his opinion on Ryan Mallett, the legacy, what it's like as a teammate. I think we've spoken on another thing or two, and he's given me his time, and I still have respect. I don't know if he had a bad week or what, but I understand some of the points where he was coming from, but the way he conducted trying to get his viewpoint across, I don't think landed with anybody for the most part, outside of a handful of people. It didn't. Again, I'm like you. I have the utmost respect for Jake. He did so much for the Arkansas Razorbacks when he was at school, served, did a lot of things, but you can still disagree with someone, and he might take issue with that with me. I did not understand the angle at which he was approaching trying to make his point, Brett, this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, Ty, one thing I noticed from this LSU game last week, and I'm excited to watch him again this weekend against Texas A&M, and correct the pronunciation of the last name, because I've heard it a couple ways now, and I don't know what Luke Hayes. How's his last name pronounced?
Okay. It's Has. It's really weird. People say, I've heard it 3 or 4 different ways, Brian, but it's, I've been told it's Has, like he has been.
Gotcha. Well, I mean, this kid's incredible. I mean, what he did last week, and kind of looking at his numbers the first couple of weeks of the season, very impressive from a true freshman.
Oh, he's been unbelievable. Arkansas might have another Mackey Award winner on campus. I was sitting next to one in Death Valley on Saturday night, and DJ Williams, who played not too far from where you guys are doing the show in Memphis at Central Arkansas Christian, about 2 hours from it. And DJ was just thoroughly impressed. He didn't start as a true freshman. Luke earned that position. They brought in 2 or 3 guys in the offseason, and Luke beat them all out.
Wow.
And, I mean, if you do that in college football as a true freshman, especially on the line of scrimmage where Luke finds himself a good chunk of the time, that's really impressive.
Yeah, that's impressive.
Brock Bowers the best tight end in college football, but Luke could see himself in that same stature at some point.
Well, I've already probably gotten in trouble with some Razorback fans over I thought it was just really sad what Jake was doing. But, and I know Houston Nutt would never name a favorite player, but if you had to name a favorite player, it may either be Jake Beckett or DJ Williams. He loved DJ Williams, Ty.
He got him 1 year, I guess, in 2007, if I remember that right. So DJ was on that one in 2008, 2007, 2008, 2009, and then 2010 under Petrino won the Mackey Award. I really like DJ. He's always been nice to me in the conversations that we've had. And I think you can say that about most Razorbacks, and the late Alex Collins. Ryan had his ups and downs, but he was always gracious to me. And I think people, again, it's just been so tough on Arkansas fans these last 4 or 5 months. And the football aspect, you're hoping that you could latch onto it. And unfortunately, through the first 4 games, you saw some life this last game. They just got to break through, and hopefully they do it tomorrow in Jerry's world, guys.
Yeah, and Ty, Bryant can attest, and Bryant, your question about the young tight end is a really good one, because not only that position group, but others, as you said, Ty, it feels like this team's really starting to find something in the old axiom of you sometimes you find more in a loss than you do in a win, and it's really close to being 4-0, and that's why I've been so defending Sam Pittman all week. Bryant can attest to it, Ty. And I did the numbers for Lane Kiffin, who's kind of had a rough and tumble week as well. Sam Pittman, through 40 games as head coach of the Razorbacks, he's 21-19. But the previous 40 to him being head coach, they were 10-30. Are we that quick to forget wins over Penn State, wins over Ole Miss, win over wins over Texas, the Texas Longhorns, no less. Winning last year at BYU. We saw this year. That's pretty tough because BYU came and returned the favor. I just don't get this for a guy that inherited a steaming mess.
Well, I think the expectation for this year's team was based a lot around the best duo in the SEC in Rocket and KJ. And with Rocket going out, there's been some issues in addition to some other areas they're still trying to shore up, like the offensive line that we've spoken to. Sam could lose out the rest of the game. I don't wish this on him because I like him, but he could lose out the rest of the games. I still think he'd retain his job. Now his seat would be as hot as ever heading into next year. But you're 2 games in, you've lost by 7 points and 3 points. The issue is, Brett, there's a really good article written by Matt Jones in the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette earlier this week talking about Arkansas in one-score games. It's whether it's Morris, Bielema, John L. Smith, and then also you got to lump Sam Pittman in there. They're really bad at those the last decade or so. Petrino was not. He was 13-7. So when you reference that stat, I still like the above 500 stat you just referenced for Pittman. These fans are they're fed up, not with just directly Sam, but Arkansas as a whole losing these one-score ball games. They're on the cusp in a lot of situations.
I would just beg them, like I've implored my Ole Miss friends in that same stretch. Lane's 26-14. Prior to him, it was 17-23. I would just beg them to remember where they've been and what we play against every single week. We're playing against the SEC West. We're playing against the SEC. You're playing non-conference against BYU in Texas. There's a lot easier opponents than that.
No question. And to your point, I know Lane hasn't beaten Bama like Hugh Freeze did twice, should have been 3 times, but, they won 10 games, 10 regular season. Ole Miss has, never done that?
Went to a Sugar Bowl. Yeah. The people saying he doesn't have any meat on the bone. You don't get to the Sugar Bowl by not having some meat on the bone.
Yeah, I guarantee you this. Lane used to be, again, the classic nepotism, just not a care in the world, I'm going to be cocky coach. He still got a little of that to him, but the thing now is, Brett, you can tell how bad he wants to beat Saban, and he's angrier than every single Ole Miss fan that watched that game this past Saturday afternoon because he still hasn't cracked the Saban code. And that infuriates him more than anything probably that he deals with
it ain't
on
easy.
A yearly basis.
You're right about that.
That's a code that would be like trying to gain access to some top level secrets with facial recognition, with a handprint, with eye exam,
whole 9 yards,
and then somebody with a Uzi coming out and going, "Who the heck are you trying to get in here?" It's not easy to crack that code. Very few people have beat Coach Saban.
Yeah.
It is. I wish I could say Arkansas has. Arkansas is 0-16 against that head coach, and they'll get a crack at him in 2 weeks. We'll see if it happens. And I'm just excited for next week, man. I'll get to see you for the first time since the summer.
Wow. Yeah, you will. Oh, we're talking to Ty Richardson from ESPN Arkansas. Now, looking to tomorrow's game against Texas A&M, obviously we know the news about Texas A&M and their starting quarterback, Connor Wegman, who's now out for the season. But Mac Johnson is not a bad backup, a guy that has starting experience in the SEC. But for this defense, they're averaging about 8 tackles for a loss and about 3.5 sacks per game this season. How important will it be for Arkansas's defense to get pressure in the backfield, especially with Max Johnson making his first real start of the season?
You got to, man. And this is not your prototypical backup quarterback.
Right.
This kid played in 20-something SEC games, making his 18th start overall. Has actually beaten Texas A&M before when he was the LSU Tigers quarterback, which is really funny. So, he beat Arkansas last year. You just look to last year when he played them. So, for Arkansas, you saw what Jaden Daniels did when he was given time. He ripped you apart. And he has maybe the best 1-2 punch in the country. Not the country, in the SEC with Neighbors and Thomas.
Right.
But Evan Stewart and Anaya Smith aren't exactly, you can't watch over them either. They might be, if they're not 1, they're number 2. So, Arkansas secondary is going to be tested again. Guys, I want you to watch tomorrow. They're probably going to start this Jalen Braxton kid, true freshman, Frisco, Arkansas cornerback. Now, he started, I think, once this year, but that is such an interesting, and he's good. He's fast, but you know as well as I do, Bobby Petrino is going to do everything in his power to pick on the true freshman, and we're going to see it early and often tomorrow.
Yeah, and Bobby Petrino, he really moved the ball at Missouri State a few years ago against the Razorbacks, so we know he'll be primed for this one. Ty, tonight, be careful on the west end because you got an early start to tomorrow morning. How many people you think are doing the double? Do you know a lot of people that are going to do Razorback Saturday, Cowboys on Sunday?
Chuck Barrett's doing the double, Brett.
Of course he is. You know Trey Shapp is.
Yeah, voice of the Razorbacks, and I guarantee you Shapp is too. That Chuck's talked about it this week. And, I mean, you think about it, you've got Ezekiel Elliott coming back to town, and if you're an Arkansas fan, you've got Hunter Henry and Dietrich Wise. So, I mean, you've got several, just not just the Cowboys guys, but you've got several different storylines heading into that game when on Sunday, not just the Saturday game as well.
Yeah, at a great town, and I think West Virginia's at TCU this weekend, aren't they?
They might be.
I don't know that off the top of my head, to be honest, guys.
I think
always a lot to do down there, and,
sure are.
Next week it's going to be baseball town, but always a lot to do down there. Ty, pace yourself. I know you had a big time in Baton Rouge. Remember the season; it's a marathon, not a sprint.
Is, Ty.
Yeah, and I'm excited to see you next weekend, too. I got to really prepare myself for that.
It's going to be another one.
Yes, you will.
Yeah.
Ty, be safe, and thank you so much, okay?
Thanks, Ty.
You got it, guys. Have a great rest of your afternoon.
You got it. Ty Richardson with us from ESPN Arkansas, deep in the heart of Texas. And, deep in the heart of Texas, they think they do barbecue. It's good. It ain't barbecue because it's not pig. It's beef. We do barbecue in the barbecue capital of the world in Memphis, and two great places to do it. The commissary, the new Collierville commissary at Houston Levy and Poplar, are the original in Germantown. Memphis-style barbecue done the right way, the slow-cooked way. And it's perfect for a big group for all this game watching and enjoyments you can have this weekend. Everybody's not going to Tiger Lane tomorrow. Everybody's not coming to the Grove, but you're going to be watching the game somewhere. You can watch them at home and get the food from the commissary to your house, or you can go to the commissary where you can spread out and really enjoy it. If you're craving an easier way to order, text commissary right now at 33733. Start that barbecue feast with the great appetizers. They're all large enough to be entrees, but like Ty's got to do in Dallas, you got to pace yourself. Pace yourself with the smoked chicken wings or the tamales, the cheese plate, or the barbecue nachos invented by Walker Taylor and his staff in the early 80s at the Germantown commissary. Then dig into the ribs or the shoulder, chopped or pulled on a plate, on a sandwich. All the sides, beans, slaw, deviled eggs, bread. You can order it by the pound, or here's perfect for tailgating: the 6-pack, the 8-pack, or the 12-pack. Coming soon, the Brunswick Stew, and I'll be talking about the holiday bird very, very soon for Thanksgiving and the Christmas holidays. The desserts, like the best lemon icebox pie I've ever had, the banana pudding, the strawberry cake. Here's the number, 901-754-5540, or go online at commissarybbq.com in Collierville and Germantown. Those party areas, orders to go, tailgating, and coming soon, we'll be talking about the holiday bird. 901-754-5540, or online at commissarybbq.com. Brian, I don't think it's an exaggeration to say Arkansas, it doesn't get you anything, but they could be, or should be, 4-0. They sure could be.
They sure could be. I mean, I think I don't want to say should be when you're playing a team like LSU. I mean, I know that they very easily could have won that game, but that's still a top 25 ranked team, very good team in LSU. But you're absolutely right. I mean, they could be sitting undefeated. One loss, I think you could say, should be at least one loss. But they looked a lot better against LSU, though, I think.
They did. And here's the thing that really is so exasperating to so many Razorback fans. The whole coulda, shoulda stuff, again, that doesn't get you jack.
Right.
I know that. They're 2-2. I know that. the LSU game probably was more winnable than the game at home against BYU.
Honestly, you're probably right. I mean, it just and like Ty said, I mean, that game is always close, and that's kind of how SEC conference play is you get a lot of these games where, I mean, I remember a couple weeks ago when we were talking about, oh man, Tennessee should go down to the Swamp and just kill Florida, and then that didn't happen. It was a lot closer game. Florida actually won a close game. Florida wins. I mean, things happen in conference play, but I'm hoping they can use that game, even though it was a loss, as motivation going into this week. Obviously, a big stage playing down at Jerry's World in a game that I think both fan bases really value, and hopefully they can turn that into motivation. Now it sounds like Rocket Sanders will be back in the fold, so that should definitely help a lot.
And, Brad, I didn't mean it ugly when I first kind of referenced this back in the summer, and I sure don't now. It's just where we are. There's that championship flight of the SEC, right, and then there's that first flight. Mm-hmm. And if I had $1 for every time those first flighters almost beat those championship flighters, I'd be in Turks and Caicos this weekend really watching from my beach house. Yeah. I mean, you can play that shoulda, coulda all you want, and the number of times I've been with Ole Miss to LSU down to Baton Rouge last year. Yeah. Led at halftime, got trucked in the second half. COVID year, did everything but beat them in the muck and mire down there. Heck, last weekend, door was open for Ole Miss against Alabama, and in the end, those teams. I'm not preaching to anybody. I'm not. But in the end, when the announcers or those teams' fans say, in the end we were so and so and you were such and such. It's true. It stings, and they have a lot of players, and they have really good coaches, and it's very aggravating to get that close. For Arkansas, I don't know if the fan base can take another one kind of left at the altar again tomorrow, and I think the Ole Miss fan base is somewhat fragile to that against the bigger names. Ready to close the deal.
Absolutely.
I can make the strong argument Lane Kiffin and Sam Pittman have won a lot of important games, but fans always want more. It's what Coach Nolan Richardson used to talk about, feeding that beast. He said getting to that national championship type level, Final Four, Elite Eight, and then ultimately winning was not near as hard as keeping everybody pacified after winning it.
I mean, it's not hard to believe. I mean, when you kind of think about it and fan bases and such. But I'm really excited about this game. I asked Ty about this Luke Has tight end that I've been really impressed with, and then he even mentioned Jalen Braxton, a freshman cornerback that I had been reading about. Some people have been talking about him, and I'm really excited to see if he gets a lot of playing time tomorrow, what he can do against an offense that is going to want to throw the ball around.
And here's something else. I know fans get tired of hearing it, but help's on the way. Arkansas and Ole Miss both are tearing it up recruiting.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Help is definitely on the way. Deep in the heart of Texas, I guarantee you Ty's going to see a lot of something else down there. He's going to see a lot of boots. And we got the best place. Sponsor of this hour of our show, and we appreciate them so much. Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Jean on the historic square in Collierville since 1961. Texas, you don't have anything on us. Charles Hall, he started working there in his teens, and now with his wife, Laura, what a great team they are. They own the place, known for all the boots, but also clothing, accessories, and a cap for any team for any season. Western wear, work boots, safety toe, soft toe, rubber boots, boots for every occasion at Hewlett & Dunn. Dressy, work, casual, whatever you need. Stay warm to stay dry, they have them. From head to toe, they've got you covered with every brand imaginable. Anderson Bean, Dan Post, Ariat, whether for men or for women.
And like you said, it's not just the boots. Men's and women's clothing, jeans, pants, shirts, shorts, outerwear, and the best duck head collection you'll find. Charles and Laura Hall invite you to 111 North Center Street or to HewittDunn.com on the square in Collierville. Hats, sunglasses, boot care products in every area, team snapbacks, and cool hats you can think of. For the Tigers, Mississippi State, UT, Ole Miss, Arkansas, if you're heading down to Dallas for that game this weekend, they've got you covered for any of those area teams. And for travel, their bag selection is absolutely top-notch. HewittDunn.com, but please go in, visit, and say hello at 111 Center Street on the square in Carterville at Hewlett and Dunn. We need to get to a break because when we come back, we're going to make some picks for this weekend during our First National Bank and Trust Friday football forecast. But first, here's a traffic update.
Sports 56 traffic.
Very slow go on 55 coming across the bridge over from West Memphis. Still a lot of traffic volume out here from our earlier crash on 240 as you get onto 385. It's where we had that crash on Bill Morris Parkway just before Ridgeway. It's congested now, right on schedule for a Friday. I guess you can call it that. On 40 eastbound from Sycamore View Road, it's busy all the way out to Germantown Parkway. Don't miss it this weekend. Smoky Mountain Fall Festival at Ober-Gatlinburg. Take that drive and check out the beautiful fall colors up there already. At Obergatlinburg.com has more details. I'm Commander Chuck with your on-time traffic.
Join the voice of the Tigers, Dave Woloshin, for Wolo and Friends. Weekday mornings from 10 to 11 here on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
Jeep Adventure Days and Ram Power Days are going strong at Gossett Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram Fiat on the Pike. And if you're ready to save big bucks, we Gossett! Show off your style in 2023 Fiat 500X Pop 4-door. Gossett priced at $28,990 or $354 a month with 0% APR. Or take your pick with 2023 Jeep Renegade or 2023 Dodge Charger, now just $422 a month. And if you're looking for big savings on your 2023 Ram 1500, get to Gossett for just $587 a month. And if we don't have it, Gossett can order it today. So drive past the rest and come to the best at Gossett on the Pike or shop online at GossettMotorCars.net.
If you want it, we Gossett at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 3,500 down, must finance through Chrysler. Pop PP 988,763, MSRP 31,355. Renegade PPP 45,607, MSRP 30,500. Charger PH 508,657, MSRP 35,930. Ram PN 693, 3965, MSRP 48,330. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details. Offer valid through 9/30/2023 with approved credit dealer stock only.
Memphis football is home Saturday, September 30th as they face off against traditional power Boise State at 3. We celebrate D'Angelo Williams and the entire 2003 Memphis Tigers. It's also Kids Day. We have balloon artists, inflatables, special poster making stations, and more for kids of all ages. Tickets start at just $20 to witness 901's team in action. Be there Saturday, September 30th at 3 o'clock. Purchase your tickets today at GoTigersGoTix.com.
Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis in Olive Branch has an offer you can't refuse. They will pay you to do business with them if you want luxury. And I'm talking the Genesis G70 car. If you would love to have that kind of new technology, they will give you a $1,000 rebate when you finance with Genesis Motor Finance. In other words, they'll pay you $1,000 to do business with them, and you get brand new luxury. You can't beat it. That's Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis, right at the corner of Craft Road and Highway 78 in Olive Branch. Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis in Olive Branch, where customer retention is amazing. There's a reason. They take care of you with a team that's been together for a long time. Whether it's finance or whether it's service, you can't beat them. Homer Skelton Hyundai Genesis.
Jenkins Floors and More in Hernando is growing. This family business started up 5 years ago with just one pallet, and now they have hundreds. Tim, the owner, gets calls from people everywhere and can sometimes save them up to 50% on wood flooring, carpet, tile, and vinyl. Jenkins Floors and More helps with renovations, home building, and installation. Jenkins Floors and More, number 6 East Commerce Street in Hernando. Also in Little Rock and coming soon to Tennessee. Call 662-469-9350 for more information.
Friday football forecast from First National Bank and Trust, a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas. Real estate isn't something you purchase or develop or desire. It's something you appreciate, respect, and know. With real estate, there's no gray area. You either know it or you don't. First National Bank and Trust, a proud division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas. They've known it since their beginning in 1886. Clients depend on First National Bank because they know real estate. Brooks Winchester, Bill Samish, and many more can assist you in your acquisition of that hunting land, farmland, a construction project. Let First National Bank and Trust make your dreams a reality. 775 Ridge Lake Boulevard, Suite 140 in Memphis, 901-498-5763, or the office in Collierville, or online at fnbtmemphis.com. For commercial real estate, residential construction, or recreational and agriculture financing, let First National Bank and Trust help you. They're a division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, where I have had an account, been a friend, and been a customer my entire life.
And they're so proud to be in West Tennessee now, firmly in West Tennessee, and people learning what we've known in Eastern Arkansas forever. The definition of stable, secure, solid, reliable, and consistent. That's First National Bank and Trust. First game of the day tomorrow morning. We know what the weather forecast will be at AT&T Stadium. It's going to be really nice, almost perfect, one would say. At Jerry Jones's, what would it take to build it now? $3, $4, $5 billion?
Yeah.
Whatever the cost, he's got it. 11 o'clock on SEC Network, A&M minus 6.5 over the Razorbacks. Way back to the Southwest Conference, these two teams go. Jimbo 3-1 versus Arkansas. Sam Pittman 1-2 versus A&M. Did anybody say that wasn't a big win when Sam Pittman beat him? I bet not. A&M 2 straight weeks holding opponent under 100 yards passing. Back-to-back 100-yard receiving games for Evan Stewart, maybe the best wide receiver in the SEC. Second of 4 straight games not at home for Arkansas. After 6 games, we go a few more weeks. After 6 games, Arkansas will have only played at Razorback Stadium twice this year. 70% passing for K.J. Jefferson, 9 touchdowns, 3 interceptions, over 900 yards. A&M, a 6.5-point favorite over the Razorbacks. Bryant, you pick first.
I'm going to go with Arkansas in this one. I liked what I saw last week against LSU. I know Ty says that that's always a close one, and this game against Texas A&M was very close last year when they played. So I'm betting on maybe Texas A&M. I know Max Johnson has experience. He started in the SEC before, but I'm going to say that they come out maybe a little slow tomorrow against Arkansas. Now, Arkansas is going to have to take advantage of that. I think Rocket Sanders coming back in the fold is huge for them, but I'll go out on a limb. I'll take them plus the 6.5.
I'm going to take A&M, and I'm going to lay the 6.5, and they get there barely. Another one of those heartbreakers, 34-27, Texas Aggies. 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon at the fairgrounds. On ESPN2, but the Memphis Tigers, the hometown team, 3.5-point favorites over Boise State. Second appearance ever for Boise in Memphis. They won the 2004 Liberty Bowl. 13 years in the Mountain West, just 15 conference losses. Let me repeat. The Mountain West. First meeting ever versus the hostage takers of college football. First time for the Tigers to see Boise State. 53 home wins for the Tigers since 2014. That's tied for 4th behind Clemson at 61, Bama at 60, and Ohio State at 57. The Memphis Tigers, 3.5-point favorites. I've said it all week, and I want it. 38-10 Memphis.
Wow, that'd be fun tomorrow afternoon. I'm also going to take Memphis in this one. I think coming off of that game against Missouri last Saturday, I think everybody in that locker room thought that they could have and should have won that game against Missouri. It was very close, very hard fought, and I think it was a heartbreaker to a lot. While the rest of the country didn't think that they should have won that game, I think they really did think they should have won that game. So I think they come out with a lot of energy tomorrow. And also, I think this would just be a heartbreaker. If you lose that heartbreaker last week against Missouri and then you come back to Memphis and lose again to Boise State. So I think they come out. I think they hopefully get on the board early. We've been talking all year about early starts for this Tiger team. Let's see an early start tomorrow against Boise State, set the tone, and get a win. So I'll take them minus 3.5.
You can only stand so much heartbreak. That goes for everyone. Ole Miss and LSU tomorrow afternoon, early 5 o'clock start in the early evening, 5 o'clock on ESPN. LSU 2.5-point favorite over Ole Miss at Vaught-Hemingway Stadium. Brian Kelly 3-1 all-time against Lane Kiffin. That was 2-1 at Notre Dame, and last year in Baton Rouge, 1-0 since Brian Kelly's been at LSU and Lane Kiffin's been at Ole Miss. Jaden Daniels, 6th player in FBS history to pass for 10,000 yards and rush for 4,000. 112th meeting all-time, second most played opponent for Ole Miss other than Mississippi State at number 1. Jackson Dart, 6th nationally in total offense. Bruce Marshall liked the under in this game, and that was 67.5. He liked LSU too. I agree with half of his picks here. I'm going to take Ole Miss, but I like that under.
Yeah.
Ole Miss narrowly, 31-30. It would go under, and it would make for white knuckle late in the game finish for Ole Miss, right?
I'm going to take LSU in this one. I'm still very high on this team. I know we talked at SEC Media Days about this team, and I had them winning the West again. I had Jaden Daniels as a Heisman contender. And for all of that to happen, they've got to beat Ole Miss tomorrow, so I'll take them minus the 2.5.
6:30 tomorrow night on SEC Network. Tennessee, a 12.5-point favorite over South Carolina at Neyland Stadium. Josh Heupel, 2-0 in SEC home openers. He's 14-3 all-time at Neyland Stadium. 51st season for South Carolina broadcaster, their analyst, Tommy Suggs, been doing it 51 years. I can assure you, Tommy, I'm not going to catch you at 51 years. Tennessee leads all-time 28-11-2 in this, lost last year. I think Tennessee gets well and wins big over South Carolina.
Wow.
35-14.
Wow. I'm going to hop on the trend of seemingly everybody else, and I'm going to take South Carolina plus the 12.5. I just haven't been impressed with what Tennessee's shown, and until I see something that impresses me from Tennessee, I'm going to have to, especially with the double-digit spread, I'm going to have to take South Carolina.
My college football lock is Alabama. See if it's righted.
Wow.
The ship's righted for them, minus 14.5 over Mississippi State in Starkville. And my college football shock, and I'm completely stealing it from Bruce Marshall. Give me Syracuse plus 6.5 over the Clemson Tigers. Your college football lock and shock.
My lock is going to be Texas State minus 4.5 over Southern Miss. It's a Texas State team that a lot of people got put on the map with their win against Baylor, but they've still, after that, have been playing good football. Southern Miss, on the other hand, lost to Arkansas State a couple of weeks ago and really struggled this year. So I'll take that for my lock. My shock, I'm going to take Kansas plus 16.5 over Texas. Lance Leopold, it sure is, but Lance Leopold is in that conversation for Michigan State. Even if he doesn't get offered the job or take it, I think he wants to put points on the board to show that I can be the guy at Michigan State. So I think they keep it close. They might even win this game. I'll take them plus the 16.5.
NFL on Sunday, noon on CBS. Buffalo minus 2.5 over Miami at Highmark Stadium. Miami leads all-time 62-56-1. Buffalo leads 4-1 all-time in the postseason. Their first meeting ever was September 18th, 1966. Bobby Crockett and Bobby Burnett, both former Razorbacks, scored in that game for the Bills. Jack Kemp at quarterback for Buffalo that day. That doesn't mean anything come Sunday. Buffalo minus 2.5 over Miami. Miami for me.
Okay, I like it. I'm going to go with you. I'm going to take Miami as well. If a team scores 70 points, I've got to go with them the next week, even though that might be a bad idea. I'll take Miami in this one. I'm
going to ride with Tua as long as he's upright until I see something different. He really hadn't been hit so far this year, and maybe he did learn how to slide. 325 on Fox. Dallas minus 6.5 over New England at AT&T Stadium. Dallas leads all-time 8-6. Of course, they've never met in the playoffs. The only way they would be in a Super Bowl. First meeting ever, October 24th, 1971. Rookie Jim Plunkett against Roger Staubach that day for Pats and Cowboys. New England, they barely lose. They lose 21-20 to Dallas. Dallas wins the game, but I like New England plus the 6.5.
Yeah, I'm with you on that. I'm going to take New England as well. Kind of a hungover AT&T Stadium after the game tomorrow between Texas A&M and Arkansas. But, you know, when you look at New England, obviously Dallas coming off a loss that a lot of people thought they should have won. But for New England, throw out their record. They've been really competitive in every game they've played this year. So I think they keep it close. I'm hoping Dallas win. I think Dallas will win. But I'm going to take New England against the 6.5.
Sunday night football on NBC, 7:20 Sunday night. Kansas City minus 9.5 over the New York Jets at MetLife Stadium. Monday night football will be at MetLife Stadium as well. Kansas City leads all time 20-19 to 1-1 in postseason. First meeting ever, October 2nd, 1960, when it was the New York Titans versus the Dallas Texans in the first year of the AFL. First Chiefs-Jets meeting was 1963, with Dick Wood from Auburn at quarterback for the Jets against Lenny Dawson for the Kansas City Chiefs. Give me the Jets plus the 9.5. Kansas City wins, but the Jets keep it close.
Well, Taylor Swift supposedly is going to be back at the game.
Oh, yeah.
We saw what the Chiefs did with her in attendance last week and against this Jets team. I'm going to have to go with Bruce. Bruce said it. I mean, he's got to take Kansas City in this spot, so I'm going to go with him. I'm also going to take Kansas City.
Everybody we've talked to today loves Jacksonville early Sunday morning. That's my NFL lock. Give me Jacksonville minus 3.5 over Atlanta at Wembley Stadium. And my NFL shock, give me the Raiders plus the 5.5 against the Chargers. Even in victory last week, I can't trust the Chargers.
Yeah, no, I agree with that. My lock is the exact same as you, the Jags. I'd seen it earlier at 2.5. I'm completely still comfortable taking that 3.5. So give me the Jags minus 3.5.
This is an Alan Bell, Bruce Marshall, and both of us locked. What could go wrong?
That's terrifying. But no, I'll take the Jags minus the 3.5 over the Falcons. Let's get our lock. Let's get a check mark by our lock early in the morning Sunday. And for my shock, I'm going to take the Bears plus 3.5 over the Broncos. And what might be the most.
That's called gambling.
I mean, that might be the ugliest game we see. But when you're giving me a game like this, the Broncos have just looked absolutely awful. So have the Bears. But I'm in a game like this. 2-0-3 teams that have both looked awful, I'm just going to have to ride with the underdog.
You are 29-16 college and pro picks. I am 17-28 so far this year. So 29-16, pretty salty percentage for you. That's our First National Bank and Trust Friday football forecast. Third division of First National Bank of Eastern Arkansas, now in West Tennessee. And for anything real estate, they should be your first call. For commercial, ag, hunting, recreational, contact them at fnbt.com or call them at 901-498-5763. Go visit them in the new offices in Collierville or at Ridge Lake Road.
Well, we need to get to our final break of the day. When we come back, we'll wrap up the week with Taco Bell Crunch Time.
Broadcasting from the Family Leisure Studio, we are Sports 56 and 98.5 FM.
It's time to go where the season takes you, and it's the season for savings at Gossett Mitsubishi on the Pike. Go for miles more with 43 MPG Highway in your 2024 Mitsubishi Mirage. $17,815 or $229 a month. 2024 Eclipse Cross eludes sleek and sporty style at $29,695 or $399 a month. Discover the new 2024 Mitsubishi Outlander SUV with third row and 7-passenger seating. Now $29,885 or $449 a month. And they're all equipped with Mitsubishi's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty. We're ready to put you in a new ride today at Gossett Mitsubishi, 1870 Covington Pike, or 24/7 at memphismitsubishi.com.
If you want it, we got it at Gossett Motor Cars.
All 84 months, Mirage RH 00782, MSRP 18315, Eclipse RZ 001693, MSRP 30445, Outlander RZ 005762, MSRP 31385. Includes all rebates and incentives. PF 695 excludes tax title and licensee. Dealer for complete details. Offer valid through end of the month with approved credit. Dealer stock only.
Step up your wings game at East Coast Wings and Grill. With 60 wing flavors and 7 heat indexes, do you have what it takes to turn the heat on your wings up to insanity? East Coast Wings and Grill is family friendly with a large variety menu to satisfy the whole bunch. Sign up today for their loyalty program and taste the rewards. For every $1 you spend, you collect a point. Earn 100 points and receive a $5 reward. Next to Lowe's off Highway 64 in Bartlett, come try America's best wings at East Coast Wings and Grill.
Howdy folks, Dominic Cunha, General Manager at Sunrise Buick GMC on Covington Pike. Our Western Trading Day sales event is here again. My ranch managers have been instructed to slash prices, so if you're looking for a great deal, don't look any further. New Buicks and GMCs, discounts up to $6,500 and a $12 million used car inventory. The Sunrise Ranch on the Pike is the place to go. Bad credit, bankruptcy, slow pay, that's okay. Here at Sunrise, we specialize in secondary financing and used cars below $69.95. Visit us online at sunriseonthepike.com or in person, 1800 Covington Pike.
Response to the all-new Genesis Diamonds has been incredible. People are loving what we've brought to Memphis. Genesis is a different kind of jewelry store with more jewelry than you've ever seen in one place at prices you never thought possible. But value is just a piece of the Genesis difference. They're taking consumer protection to a whole new level with non-commissioned salespeople, free service for life on any purchase, and a nationwide price guarantee. And listen to this, Genesis is so confident in their diamonds that they offer a groundbreaking 120% upgrade guarantee. This means when you buy a diamond now and bring it back in the future to upgrade it, you'll get your entire original purchase price plus an extra 20%. So if you spend $5,000 on your original diamond, Genesis Genesis will give you $6,000 when you trade up to a bigger diamond. Think about it. We'll pay you more than you paid us for the same diamond. Who else does this? Discover the Genesis difference, forever changing how people in Memphis buy diamonds and fine jewelry at Poplar & Perkins, the official jeweler of the Tennessee Titans.
All 36 months, 650 acquisition fee, Forte LSX, PE 678,605, MSRP 21,610, Nero, P507859, MSRP 41,090, EV6, P56,109,64, MSRP 49,687, includes all rebates and incentives, must finance through Hyundai, excludes tax, title, and license. See dealer for complete details, offer valid through 10/2/2023 with approved credit dealer.com.
Hey, Jeff Allen, I hear Gossett Kia South on Mount Moriah is about to blow my socks off.
That's right, Randy. Get 41 MPG Highway with the 2023 Kia Forte LXS, $229 a month, $29.99 due at signing.
What about those cool new EVs?
I've got EV action with the 2023 Nero EV Win SUV, 253 miles of EPA, estimated range $269 a month, $49.99 due at signing. And the 2023 Kia EV6 Win, 134 city, 101 highway MPGE, $399 a month, $49.99 due at signing. Plus, you'll get a free charger with every EV purchase, all 36-month lease.
And Kia's 10-year, 100,000-mile powertrain limited warranty.
So whether you live in Horn Lake, South Haven, Olive Branch, or Memphis, you'll be happy at Gossett Kia on Mount Moriah.
I'm with John Burgos from the world-famous Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948.
Brett, we have catered parties all over this country and all over the world, from Singapore, Australia to Central Park in New York, but many people don't realize how much we do locally. For holiday events, office parties, tailgating, birthday parties, you can't do better than the Rendezvous. For example, you can get a cheese and sausage tray for 15 to 300 people for $3.75 a person. You can even build your own nacho bar for $10.50 per person. All you need is a minimum of 15 people. In many cases, we can arrange delivery and full-service catering. We've even made it easy to get to-go items. You can just park at our front door in the alley, put on your flashes, and we'll get you going ASAP. For all your catering items and prices, go to hogsfly.com, click on menu, and drop down to catering.
Thank you, John. The Rendezvous, Mr. Charlie Burgos' Rendezvous in the Alley since 1948 and celebrating its 75th year.
Now, back to Sports Time on Sports 56 and 98.5 FM. This hour is brought to you by Hewlett & Dunn Boot and Jean Company in Collierville. Here once again are Brett Norsworthy and Bryant Dacus.
Go crazy, folks! Go crazy! This is for all the biggest crunch time. You are looking live. In your life have you seen anything like that? Goodbye! Hello, Haskell. It's obviously crunch time.
Hammer, nail, coffin. This baby is over.
The double steak grilled cheese burrito, so good. Double the steak with nacho cheese sauce, seasoned rice, red strips, sour cream, and the 3-cheese blend wrapped inside a warm flour tortilla, with even more 3-cheese blend grilled on the top. The double steak grilled cheese burrito, it hits the spot now at Taco Bell. And at Taco Bell, when they say they are feeding people's lives with unexpected good, they mean it. Bowl food you can't get anywhere else.
Well, Brett, what I learned today is that Gabe Kepler, the manager for the San Francisco Giants, has been fired this afternoon. It happened about an hour and a half ago. And, you know, I'm really surprised by this. Not saying that
I didn't see it coming.
I didn't either. I thought maybe, you know, going into the offseason, obviously right now San Francisco 78-81 with a final series against the Dodgers. So, you know, not a great season. I thought maybe coming into next year kind of on the hot seat, like, hey, you really got to turn it around or we're going to have to do something. But, you know, bro, I remember earlier in the year talking about this Giants team saying, man, you know, they really, when you look at this lineup, it doesn't look like they have a bunch of world killers on their team, but they're a sneaky good team and they're just finding ways to beat other teams. So I'm very surprised that it happened, especially before the end of the year. But the Giants' first team looking for a new manager.
Yeah, there will be more to come. What I learned, the United States flop at the Ryder Cup in Italy today, it was a day of complete domination by the Europeans. The U.S. team didn't lead in any of the morning matches and didn't take its first lead until Spieth and Thomas went one up on the sixth hole around 8 Eastern time. Their lead came more than 7.5 hours into the match, and after 79 holes had been played.
Wow, that's Well, that leads me into my what I could have done without, because that's exactly right, Brett. I told you earlier that I went to bed last night after watching probably 30 minutes to an hour of actual, play, where they had already teed off and we had actual play going on. And, I thought it was very competitive. I think both groups tied on their first hole. And so I went to bed last night, and I woke up this morning. I said, all right, well, let's see how they did last night. Clean sweep. Woo, boy. And so now you're in a hole. I did a little better, I guess, in that afternoon session, but not a hole you want to go. I mean,
Did you live bet anything?
I plead the fifth, Brett.
Okay.
I may have bet on a European group. Look, I love...
Hey, whether it's green cash or euros, it's still money.
Brett, I love Ludwig Aberg, and so when he was matched up with Victor Hovland, I was like, this is a dirty group going on, so I had to take them. That's right. That's a good point.
Good for you. Could have done without Kyrie Irving saying he's glad to be back with Dallas. He's always glad to be back with whatever team he's with
hey,
in
Brett,
September.
He's just glad to be playing.
Give it till March, and he'll be the malcontent he's been everywhere he's ever been. Some things don't change, and this is one of them.
And that is very, very true. Where are you beaming tonight?
Beam me to the best tailgate in college football tomorrow. I'm going to walk over and check things out here in a little bit. To the Grove, Ole Miss versus LSU, Lane Kiffin. And the Rebs need this one versus Brian Kelly and LSU pregame right here at 3 o'clock. I'll be alongside Gary Darby. And then kick off at 5 with David Kellum, Harry Harrison. On the sidelines, John Darnell.
I'm going to beam to Princeton, New Jersey tonight. Columbia versus Princeton to kick off the night on a Friday night.
You know who I think does Princeton football is our friend in New York with the Yankees.
Oh, really?
Uh-huh.
Wow.
Why is his name escaping me?
I don't know. It's escaping me. I don't know if I've talked to him. I think
Drew Casey.
Y'all might have talked to Drew Casey while I was out one day.
I think you're right. I think Drew Casey does Princeton games.
Wow. Well, I'm excited about this game tonight. It's on ESPNU, first Ivy League game for both Columbia and Princeton. But, Brett, I got to tell you, the second that game is over, beam me out to Seattle so that I can watch the Mariners versus the Rangers. And really what's a must-win for the Mariners, Brian Wu going tonight. I'm not sure about that decision, but, hey, we'll see what he can do.
Also, this weekend, we'll keep a close eye on all things Ryder Cup. If there's anything left to really watch, I don't know. Also, the remaining postseason teams involved in baseball, some really good ones tonight.
Yep.
A&M and Arkansas early tomorrow. Georgia, Auburn, then Memphis and Boise, Ole Miss and LSU, South Carolina and Tennessee, Bama and State, Coach Prime against SC tomorrow. I think this weekend, maybe not as glamorous as last weekend, but still really good. It's got plenty of beef to it.
Absolutely. A really fun – and we talked about it earlier. I mean, it starts right at 11 a.m. You've got the pair of SEC games, one taking place at Jerry's World, and then you've also got USC and Colorado bright and early this morning. So it's going to be a really good day of football, and I'm really excited about
early golf?
Early golf.
Early football?
Early football. And I told
Sunday?
That's right, on Sunday. And Brett, you're going to watch the Toy Story stream for that game on Sunday morning between the Jaguars and the Falcons.
I'm going to have to pass.
Huh. Okay, well, I'll watch it, Brett. I'll give you the report back on Monday.
Our Cowboys Sunday? I'm back on board. Our Cowboys, right?
You're back without even a game happening between what happened last week?
Well, I can jump back off after a loss.
That's very true. Yeah, our Cowboys are also in action, but it should be a fun weekend. Let me remind you of our schedule this weekend here on Sports 56. Obviously, tomorrow you can check out all the action of the Ole Miss and LSU game. That coverage starting at 3 p.m. Dolphins, Bills, 12 o'clock on Sunday. Raiders, Chargers right after that at 3. Chiefs, Jets at 7. And then Monday night, we'll have Seahawks, Giants. You can catch all of that action right here on Sports 56. But that's all the time we have today. Enjoy your night. Enjoy your weekend. We'll talk to you again on Monday.